City on this Thursday, March 6th. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. You've tuned into the Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710 KNUS. I'm your co-host, Jeff Hunt, along with Bill Thorpe, bringing you the freshest insights and hottest takes from the right, left, and center. Bill, when I say we are bringing the freshest, we are bringing the freshest because there's no other news person from Colorado that was at that hearing yesterday that's back this morning in Denver, Colorado, doing a radio show.
Yeah, you did an all-nighter. This is crazy. Good to see you.
Great to be back with you too, brother. And we were straight from yesterday's hearing to the airport. When I say we, I use the royal we. I was by myself. But I'm going from that to the airport, landing. Got home at about 10:30, back up this morning. We're right here, and this morning's show is going to be absolutely fire. Lauren Boebert joining us to recap what happened yesterday with Mayor Johnston. John Fabbricatore is going to join us as well. He was in D.C. testifying on illegal immigration. I mean, it was spicy reality television yesterday. Yeah. And interesting to see how both sides work those angles. Republicans laying the groundwork for the possible criminal prosecution of mayors of sanctuary cities, and in particular, Anna Paulina Luna kicking it off, saying she's referring the mayor of Denver, along with the mayor of New York, Chicago, and Boston, to Pam Bondi, Attorney General, for criminal indictment, criminal prosecution, harboring illegal aliens. We're going to play some of that audio later today. So Republicans kicking it up a notch, and then Democrats on the other side using it as an opportunity to try to get a scalp, and that scalp being Mayor Eric Adams of New York. Just about every question coming from the other side, if it wasn't in support of immigrants, was about attacking Mayor Eric Adams and saying that he had somehow come together with a quid pro quo deal. And what was wild about just being there is, and tip of the hat to Lauren Boebert, because she was the one that got us in that room, and not only got us in the room, gave us the best seat in the house. I mean, no other media outlet. I mean, Bill, it was me, the NBC affiliate from New York City, the New York Times, and an outlet out of Boston, Massachusetts. I mean, like, we were right
fantastic.
There. And Channel 9 was way down on the edge. I think Kyle barely got in the room yesterday.
Nicely done.
But that was all because of Lauren Boebert. But I was right behind Mike Johnston and Eric Adams, 2 rows behind him.
That's fantastic.
And
those pictures are great.
And when Eric Adams is getting these, AOC's drilling him. When did you meet with Trump? What did you guys talk about? Is this quid pro quo? All that stuff. He's like doing the whole turn to his lawyers, which are right in front of me, and going, he had the standard line. The judge managing the case is going to make these decisions moving forward, and I'm not allowed to talk about all that type of thing. Didn't necessarily plead the fifth, but essentially did plead the fifth. So it was all the chaos of a political high-stakes committee hearing, and 710K in U.S. was front row. So thank you to Lauren Boebert. We're going to be talking to her in a little bit. Sherronna Bishop's going to give us an update on Tina Peters in the 7 o'clock hour, America's Mom. I'm hearing some rumbling that things may be changing for Tina Peters. So we're going to talk directly with Sherronna Bishop, who's been with Tina through all of this, coming up as well. So it's an absolute fire show. We're going to play clips. We talked with Jeff Crank. We talked with Anna Paulina Luna yesterday. Gabe Evans, Jim Jordan's grilling of Mike Johnston. So lots to cover on what happened yesterday and the future of these sanctuary cities. So all of that happening, and all the other reporters just waking up in Washington, D.C. sometime, getting to their plane. They'll eventually end up back in Colorado, but we are already hot and running this morning. Now we're going to bring you Blake Olson. Blake Olson News.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, News and Comment.
Hey, thanks a lot, Jeff and Billy. And Jeff, welcome home. Great job. That was outstanding work in D.C. 34 and partly cloudy in Denver, expecting a high of 54 today. The 7-10 5-day forecast coming up. Our top story.
To me, after this line of questioning, it's very clear that these policies that you have all implicated are active and alive and well in your cities, are in direct violation with U.S. Title 8 Code subsection 1324, and it is a federal offense.
Anna Paulina Luna, who Jeff talked to yesterday, we'll hear more of that sound later. A congressional committee threatening further action against Denver Mayor Mike Johnston following the hearing in D.C. Johnston joined 3 other lefty mayors to testify before the House Oversight and Government Affairs Committee Wednesday.
But you all speak about a broken immigration system, and yet here you guys are aiding and abetting in that entire process. I want to be very clear about something. Open border policies, which is something that you guys are talking about, hurts people on both sides, meaning the people that are coming here illegally and then American citizens as well. I do not think you guys are bad people, but I think that you are ideologically misled, which is why, unfortunately, based on your responses, I'm all going to be criminally referring you to the Department of Justice for investigation.
During the hearing,
that right there is why he spent $2 million.
Right.
That,
exactly.
Well, if the dude's going to get criminally prosecuted, pull as much tax dollars into your legal defense as possible.
What a waste for us.
Yeah, waste for us. But she got serious, man. When she dropped that, it was a tax on the notion of sanctuary cities. What are you doing to your cities? The cost. What are you doing to your people? Kind of more philosophical policy attacks. But Anna Paulina Luna. And I have an exclusive conversation with her afterwards out in the hallway.
Yeah, that was great, by the way.
She's ready to lay it down. She even says, we're not messing around. You are violating federal law, and you're going to pay.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, we're paying for him to be defended, for his defense, right? I mean, you said
at this
$2
point,
million.
yeah.
Right. So I don't agree with anything that he says. So, how does that work? I mean, why are we?
Well, I think maybe possibly once he gets charged, he'll have to do this all in his personal capacity. But, you have policy implications, but now that you have criminal, you're going to need some big-time attorneys. And I think he's going to try to milk as much taxpayer dollars. I did have just a very brief moment with Mayor Mike Johnston. And it was during some break time, and I said, Mayor Mike, you got a nice belt buckle there. He had a nice little belt buckle. And I was, of course, wearing my cowboy hat. And so, we had a little conversation. And I didn't know if he knew me. And so I stood up, and I go, Mayor Mike, Jeff Hunt. He goes, oh, yeah, I know who you are.
That's a great compliment. He was so enthusiastic when he said it, right?
Yeah, my kids one time were like, Dad, are you famous? I was like, no, I'm not famous, but if you ask any Democrat in leadership who I am, they definitely know who I am.
Yeah.
So I'm notorious among the Dems.
Yeah.
But we kept it civil. We kept it. I saw Kyle Clark there. Said hi to Kyle too. No little brawls or anything like that or spats.
Oh, good.
But
you did
a
great job, Jeff. You were all over.
I did compliment him. I said, nice belt buckle, man. Where'd you get that? And we talked about belt buckles a little bit.
What did it have on the belt buckle?
He gets his own custom made with, and this was cool. It was silver. It was a nice size belt buckle, and then it had the city logo of Denver in the middle of it. So he was representing D-Town. Cool. But I guess he gets it personally made. It's a little Christmas gift he gives to himself each year. We talked about the Western outfit that he uses to get those belt buckles made. So,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, he was getting jumped on by everybody else, and we had never actually met before. So it was a little entry point, a little easing into the conversation.
Ask him if he'll be on the show tomorrow.
Yeah, right. We'll get there.
Get on here.
Right.
Okay, speaking of Mayor Johnston, during the hearing with Scott Perry that Jeff witnessed this right here.
We do not shield people from federal.
I just asked you what. So you don't consider yourself a sanctuary city?
We provide services and supports.
Do you consider yourself a sanctuary city? That's
we do not under that definition.
You don't use the definition. You're not a sanctuary.
We call ourselves a welcoming city.
Okay, so what are you welcoming, and who are you not welcoming?
Well, we're welcoming everybody.
Okay.
We don't keep folks.
So you're welcoming criminals that you don't have any idea what their crime background is, and you're good with that?
No, we aggressively pursue.
How do you do that?
criminals
No. How do you vet the people that you welcome in your sanctuary city?
Sir, we don't vet folks that arrive from Illinois or California with a background.
Of course you don't. All right, more on that coming up. Authorities in Vail say a pedestrian has died after being hit by a snowplow. The person was in the area of Glacier Court. The State Patrol is investigating the death. The town of Vail says it's the first time one of their snowplow drivers has been involved in a deadly crash. DJT's pick to lead the EPA says the U.S. should adapt to climate change instead of trying to mitigate the problem. Aaron Sabo said that during his confirmation hearing on Wednesday. 13-year-old DJ Daniel, hanging out at the White House on Wednesday, gave DJT a big hug.
What a good-looking family, huh?
There's one more thing I got for you, a big hug.
Okay, good. That's very nice. Look at that family you got, huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Very nice. How are you? Nice to see you, man. Nice to see you. That was a big evening last night, right?
Yes, it was.
That was a big...
In case you missed it, he's had 13 brain surgeries, continues to fight cancer, and a survivor. They told him 6 years ago he was going to die, and DJ keeps on kicking. And in his police uniform, now a member of the Secret Service, just everything positive. Great stuff. China says it's prepared to fight any type of war with the U.S. after 47 enacted more tariffs on Beijing this week. The Chinese embassy in the U.S. posted on X that if war is what the U.S. wants, be it a tariff war or a trade war or any other type of war, we're ready to fight until the end. Okay, but I love what Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick continues to say.
Tariffs are going to drive America better. Remember, we pay taxes into the Internal Revenue Service. Wouldn't it be amazing to stop paying taxes to the Internal Revenue Service and have the External Revenue Service of Make America Great Again replace our taxes? That's the goal of Donald Trump, and I think he's going to hit there. He's going to do everything he can to make that happen. Lower our taxes. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on seniors. Come on. This is an amazing country. And
yes, let's make it happen. The Pentagon is signing an AI deal for military planning and operations. The program called Thunder Forge will use startup-scale AI to make the decision-making process faster. News brought to you by Lair Fireplace and Patio, Denver's premier source for everything fireplace, patio, and grills, locally owned and operated since 1954, online at lairfireplacepatio.com. Nuggets beat the Kings last night, 116-110. 31 in Westminster, 32 in Lone Tree, 34 in Denver. Jeff and Billy continue.
If you're a Democrat and you're being mean to President Trump, I'm on your
bumper is what he said. Blake Olson, News Talk, 710 KNUS.
Pretty good-looking Wednesday for Denver in the Front Range. We're in between storm systems. We'll make the 50s today, sunny to partly sunny and not nearly as windy. Lows tonight near 30 with a north wind, 20 to 40 miles an hour, gust to 50 miles an hour. As a deep storm in the plains will cause a lot of wind along the Front Range. Temperatures will be in the 40s. We cannot rule out a renegade snow shower passing through. Lows tonight, low to mid-20s and still breezy. A break in the weather Wednesday, rebounding temperatures to the mid-50s, clouding up Wednesday night, a low near 30. Mostly cloudy and colder. Areas of light rain and snow Thursday night into early Friday and colder. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
right, so yesterday was wild in Washington, D.C. as Mayor Mikey Johnston had to account for sanctuary city policies before Congress. Now, we were in the room, and we were only in the room because of the goodwill and gracious gift of Lauren Boebert, who gave us not only an opportunity to stay in the room, but probably the best press seat in the entire house.
Yeah, this is amazing.
And it was all because of her. We owe her so much. Thank you so very much. And she joins us this morning. Congresswoman, you were on fire yesterday morning.
Yes, you were. And thank you for making this happen. We cannot express to you how much gratitude we have to you and your office for making sure that Jeff was there yesterday. Thank you so much. We can never express enough gratitude for what you did for us. Thank you.
Well, I'm happy, Jeff, you were able to make it out. And yesterday, all I really needed was a little bit more time. But here's the deal: we have laws that are already on the books. We already have them, and we have state laws that contradict our immigration laws. And we have a Denver mayor who has not called to repeal those state laws, and he has not even asked his city council for a vote to repeal an ordinance in his city that prohibits ICE from working with local law enforcement, or local law enforcement working with ICE and coordinating and communicating with them. So this was something I really wanted to hone in on because it's a big deal in Colorado. We have a lawsuit with our counties, and I wanted to get him on the record proving that Denver is a sanctuary city.
They danced all around that. Well, define sanctuary. We love illegal immigrants. We don't make a distinction between how somebody got here. Mayor Mike going, I don't see anybody that comes here as anyone different that comes from Iowa or Illinois. They danced around the idea of being a sanctuary city. I asked Gabe Evans this yesterday. Is Denver a sanctuary city? He's like, absolutely. I'll ask you this too. Is Denver and is the state of Colorado, are they sanctuary? Is it a sanctuary city and a sanctuary state?
Absolutely. The policies are what define a sanctuary city or state, and we have the policies in place on the books in Colorado, in Denver, and that is what makes us a sanctuary city and or state. And here's the thing too. So Mayor Mike Johnston, he said that he would think that a sanctuary, the sanctuary definition would mean that you are shielding law enforcement from immigrants, or shielding immigrants from law enforcement. Well, yeah, that's exactly what your laws do. You do not allow local law enforcement to coordinate with federal law enforcement officers. Therefore, the immigrants are shielded from ICE agents, from federal law enforcement officers, and then they get to stay there. And so that does mean a sanctuary state. He's like, look, we provide services. We don't provide sanctuary. We provide services. Okay, well, you're providing housing. You're providing Medicare. You are providing food and all this other stuff. So, Medicare, medical. And that is a form of sanctuary. You are providing some sanctuary relief for these aliens who are in your city until it's, same-day shipping and you just send them to somebody else and make them their problem.
We're talking with Lauren Boebert. She represents Congressional District 4 here in Colorado. She was part of the House Oversight Committee meeting yesterday where Mayor Mike Johnston was forced to defend Denver's sanctuary city policies for the whole nation to see. Now, at the very end of your conversation, you started to point out that Mayor Mike Johnston was responsible for what we saw in Aurora. I want to give you some more time to explore that idea.
Yes. So Mayor Kaufman's on the record, Danielle Jurinsky's on the record, and many others saying that Mike Johnston absolutely bussed illegals to Aurora. He sent them to Aurora. So while he was in Washington, D.C., bragging that Denver crime is down, which, maybe that's not as true as he thinks it is, he says Denver crime is down. Well, sure, when you are busing the crime to other areas, you're crime might not be as high as it would if it was staying in your area. So he said there were about 42,000 illegals that came to Denver. I think that number is much higher. But he has shipped them to Utah. The governor of Utah is on the record saying that he had no notification that Mike Johnston was sending illegals to his state, and he bused them there. He sent them to Aurora, and then Mayor Adams also confirmed that they coordinated to bus illegals all the way from Denver to New York. Sure, the crime is not going to be high in your area when you're busing the crime out of your city. He totally owns this problem. And so in Aurora, that's why we have Tren de Aragua. And one thing I would have loved to have brought to his attention, if I had just a couple more minutes, is what other organization is threatening and assaulting and abusing tenants for not paying their rent? None. It's Tren de Aragua, and they're in Aurora, and they were bused from Denver after arriving there.
Yeah, and you saw yesterday this kind of back and forth all over the kind of logical spectrum, I would say, because Mayor Mike Johnston is going, well, they just showed up. The governor of Texas bust them up here. And I'm like, yeah, you guys held a giant banner outside of the city and county building in 2018 that said, "We heart immigrants." I mean, you literally put up a sign that told every other governor to just dump immigrants, illegal immigrants in the city of Denver. So don't act surprised that they bust them here. Mm-hmm. And then you get this, we're so welcoming. We provide services and we care for people. Meanwhile, Mayor Johnston putting them back on buses and sending them to New York and Aurora because he doesn't want to deal with them. So it was, it was almost absurd in how hypocritical the mayor could be in many ways yesterday. Now, big question. This is what I saw. Okay, sat through 6 hours of the hearings and watched Republicans, from my perspective, seem to build the case for the criminal referral of these mayors to Attorney General Pam Bondi because they are essentially harboring illegal immigrants. And they were asked directly about that. And that seems to be where Republicans want to go with this. Do you believe that Mayor Mike Johnston should be criminally prosecuted for harboring illegal immigrants?
This is something that President Trump, Border Czar Tom Homan, and our Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, have all talked about. They said if you are aiding and abetting and harboring illegal aliens, well, there will be consequences for you. There's already discussions about how to proceed with those consequences and what actions to actually take. And so I believe that there will be something more that happens. I've seen President Trump, be a little more on the generous side at times and give folks a chance. And so maybe there will be a warning at first, but I think eventually we will see that the left can't help themselves, and they are just stuck in this progressive trap of billboards that say we love immigrants, and they're going to end up just kind of digging their heels in a little too far and probably get prosecuted. And the DOJ is prepared and ready to do that. It's kind of like Al Green with his pimp cane on the House floor at the State of the Union. So, the congressman had several opportunities to just put the cane down and to sit down and be quiet and listen to the president speak. But he refused to do so time and time and time again. And so ultimately, the sergeant-at-arms removed him from the chambers.
You know that voice. That is the Congresswoman from District 4, Lauren Boebert, live on the Jeff and Bill Show, fresh out of the hearing yesterday. We again thank her for making sure that Jeff could be in the room. We brought it to you live, and we're going to bring some of the reactions to you today, including talking with Congresswoman Boebert. Okay, now, Congresswoman Boebert, we know that Mayor Mike Johnston paid $2 million to a silk-stocking law firm out of Washington, D.C. to prep him for his big debut on the national stage. My question, did he get his money's worth? What do you think?
Well, I really wish more colleagues would have talked to him, because there was a long time period where he wasn't really engaged as much as other mayors. I don't think that was worth $2 million. 6.5 hours, $2 million. That's a pretty steep price tag. But this is Joe Biden's former lawyer's law firm, and I think that's really something that people need to know. Denver had a budget of $90 million or so for 2024 just for illegals. They've had a bailout for the state legislature. Denver's had a bailout for Denver Health, and they're still using tax dollars to the tune of up to $2 million for legal counsel to prep him for a committee hearing. And he said, we secured this contract in case your committee called us and wanted us to research documents or bring us here. Like, he was prepared for Congress to call him in and get him in. Now, obviously, we called him pretty early on in the year, so I would really like to see the signing date of that contract. But $2 million for committee hearing, no, I don't think the taxpayers got their money worth.
We're talking with Representative Lauren Boebert. Now, Representative, you got a chance to meet with President Trump yesterday. What did you guys talk about?
Yes, so yesterday was a lot about the continuing resolution and the budget reconciliation moving forward after the CR. I don't know. I left the meeting feeling very confident that we were going to pass a continuing resolution. I have never voted for a continuing resolution that is passed, and it's a hard place to get to for many folks. But hearing the president and Russ Vought and Stephen Miller and others who are in the administration talk about the necessity of the CR, it is compelling. I don't enjoy it because it's something that, you know, when you pass a CR, okay, you're passing the funding that's already there. You're passing the policies that are already there. So it very much looks like, oh, hey, I'm voting for USAID. But we've already seen on the back end in this administration that they are redirecting funds. I still have a little bit of pause about judges who are putting blocks on this kind of stuff. Anyway, so I was saying I felt confident after the meeting saying that it was going to pass. We were going to get a CR over the line in our very slim majority. But then I talked to a few other members, and I think that there's probably too many no votes to get this passed. So I'll be talking with the president again and give him an update and see where to go from here. But bottom line is we cannot have a shutdown. President Trump and his administration are doing far too well to have a shutdown in this time.
We'll continue to track that along with you. But I want to say this, Representative Boebert. Well, it was really fun to be in the room and watch the committee hearings. You provided direct access for our listeners. You gave unique access for the 710K and U.S. listener to be able to hear and see and have a front row seat to yesterday's committee hearing on behalf of everybody that tunes in and the entire conservative movement and just the good people of Colorado. Thank you so much for giving us that opportunity, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Yes, thank you so much.
Absolutely. You know, and Jeff, I probably have to go back on our text, but was it my idea to bring you? I think it was.
100%. No, you texted and you said, hey, I could get you a seat. And I was like, I would love that. That's amazing. And it was all you that delivered that. So thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yes, well, I'm glad that you were able to be there. You have covered this issue a lot. And so thank you for coming and being that voice for Colorado. And I can't wait to see you guys in Colorado because I am tired of this place here.
Love to host you in studio. All right, Representative Lauren Boebert, kicking butt yesterday. Thank you so much for being on the Jeff and Bill Show.
Yes, thank you. Have a great day.
Yes, thank you.
All right, would love to hear your thoughts. Phone lines are open. What did you think of the hearing yesterday of Representative Lauren Boebert? We'll play some of the audio from her yesterday, as well as Anna Paulina Luna saying she's going to bring criminal charges. Do you believe that Mayor Mike Johnston should be criminally prosecuted for supporting illegal immigration, sanctuary cities, all of that. Want to hear directly from you? Phone lines are open, 303-696-1971, and texting us on the Dan Caplis Law text line at 720-819-5115. That's 720-819-5115. Want to tell you about my good friend Dan Caplis and Dan Caplis Law. Look, I've known Dan for well over a decade. He's pro-life, pro-family, pro-faith, pro-America. This guy is right there with us on the values. That matters because who you choose to represent you in an injury case says a lot about you to everybody involved in the case, right? You show up with one of those kind of billboard going by attorneys. It sends a message that you might not be that serious about getting justice. And that's what Dan Caplis is all about, delivering on justice. More than just being a great guy, he's a real winner, too, in the courtroom. Listen to this. I've never heard anything like this, okay? Dan is believed to be the only lawyer in Colorado history to win 5 straight multi-million-dollar verdicts in Colorado crash cases. Dan is also believed to have won the largest truck crash verdict in Colorado history. In fact, Dan Caplis is so trusted that he's the official law firm partner of the Denver Nuggets and the Colorado Avalanche. Dan Caplis Law, a serious firm for serious cases. Dan accepts righteous injury cases on a percentage fee basis so that he can represent good people from all walks of life without regard to ability to pay. So if you need Dan's help, give him a call. Here's his phone number. Put it in your phone right now so you have it in case you need it. You don't want to be Googling it when you're in trouble. 303-770-5551. That's 303-770-5551, or hit dancaplisLaw.com. That's Dan, C-A-P-L-I-S Law.com. All right, we'll continue with your phone calls and texts. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. We're back in studio after a wild day yesterday in Washington, D.C. as Mayor Mike Johnston was pulled before a congressional hearing in what I can only describe as a very public flogging by Republicans. Democrats loving him, but actually spending more time trying to get a scalp out of Eric Adams. Because how dare you? Yeah. And there's one Republican that's like, I'm looking at the group of four of you. All four of you are Democrats. Only one challenged Joe Biden on immigration policies, and that same one's being investigated. I'm not saying they're linked directly, but it is an interesting coincidence. All right, let's go to the phone lines. I always love to have Kory call in. Man, thank you so much. Kory Nelson joining us. Good morning, Kory. Thanks for being on the Jeff and Bill Show.
Good morning, guys. I've been waiting for this phone call for months, so thanks for the opportunity. Guys, I got a little bit of personal news. As of January 1st, I retired from an employee of the city and county of Denver, where I was an attorney in the prosecution section of the Denver City Attorney's Office. I have so much information, we could spend the rest of your show divulging all the inside information about how much Denver's a sanctuary city and the impact it has.
Looks like we're canceling all the guests. Okay, I'm kidding. I'm teasing. We'll do that someday.
I want rights to Kory's book that's going to come out because holy cow, dude!
Just the movie rights. I just want the movie rights. That's what we want. We'll get Matt Damon involved. Everything else.
Yeah, I don't want Matt paying me. Thanks. If we get anyway, a couple of points I want to make. First of all, this is not a matter of policy, but a matter of law in the city and county of Denver. So we shouldn't be using the sanctuary city policy. We should be talking about sanctuary city ordinances. Because back in 2017, they passed a city council bill called an Immigration Act, right? So I mean, it's very clear from the very beginning of this action what it was. And it's under Chapter 27 entitled Human Rights. Article 8, Public Safety Enforcement Priorities. And Section 28250 says, and I'm going to quote this, no department, agency, board, commission, officer, or employee of the city, including without limitation county court, administrative, or clerical employees, probation, pretrial services, and community corrections, shall use any city funds or resources to assist in the enforcement of federal immigration laws. This prohibition set forth in the section shall include, but not limited to, 1, assisting or cooperating in one official's capacity with any investigation, detention, or arrest procedures relating to alleged violations of the civil provisions of the federal immigration laws. There it is. That's Exhibit 1. This isn't a policy. City Council passed it as a law. Okay? So there's no doubt that Denver's a city sanctuary city, regardless of what the state does. The city did it first. Now, when Mayor Johnston says, "Oh, crime is down," that's a distraction, and because while serious crimes like homicide, and maybe even auto thefts are down, what they're not telling you is two aspects. One, other crimes are up, and I'd call this the quality of life type of crimes. When you have people being assaulted, on 16th Street Mall, you had people, retail theft. Let's talk about retail theft and all the problems that's caused, right? Those sort of things are up. Also important, though, all this $90 million they're spending, where do you think that's coming from? Where do you think they're getting $90 million? They're getting that from other agencies. So, for example, my agency in the prosecution section, due to natural occurrences, we had people leave, office for different reasons, but we had positions for prosecutors, victim advocates, and paralegals that were prohibited from being filled because they had to spend money on immigrants. That means all of the criminal cases in court couldn't be effectively prosecuted or handled because we didn't have the people to do it because they were spending their money on immigrants. So when they talk about that they're making things safer, no, exactly the opposite. They're making it worse for everybody. Because it doesn't matter if you were a victim of a crime of an illegal alien or a victim of domestic violence, your case as a victim couldn't be handled effectively because there wasn't people there because the immigrants were taking the money instead of those money being used for the prosecution or detention of these people. So the concept that this is not a matter of safety is not true. Now let me tell you how, third, how bad this gets. During 2023, because the lack of personnel, I actually was covering about 3 different jobs. I was covering my normal job. I was covering for an attorney in our juvenile division because we didn't have somebody in that position. I was covering my paralegal who was gone. So I was doing 3 jobs. When I was doing it in juvenile court, I had a case involving a juvenile who was an immigrant from Africa. Okay, he was here on a student visa. He was staying with some distant relatives here in Denver. But they were his victims because he decided to destroy their home. It wasn't acts of violence, but property crimes. The family was frustrated beyond belief because they couldn't get this kid to change his behavior, and they wanted him gone. So they called Homeland Security. They initiated an investigation, asking apparently to see if they could get him deported. I got a call from a Homeland Security investigator about this kid, and because I'm familiar with federal immigration law, I had to tell him there's nothing here. I got nothing in my cases in Denver County Juvenile Division that rises to the level that allow him to be deported because there's no actual violence. Well, because I took that phone call, I got suspended for 3 days.
Just for taking the phone call?
Wow.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Because I talked to him, and so I could afford the ding for 3 days of getting unpaid, but this is how much they intimidate people and they had to go back through and tell everybody again, remember, folks, in office, you can't talk to these federal immigration folks whatsoever. And here I was trying to tell them, you have no basis to deport this kid back to Africa. It wasn't South America or Mexico, it was Africa. But still, this is how bad they actually upgrade. Now, they don't do a lot of training. This is kind of unusual. So when I took the phone call, I wasn't even thinking about this law passed in 2017, which all the training we received back in 2017 was clearly designed to deal with folks from Mexico and Central America. And their excuse was, well, for this whole thing was that we want victims to be able to contact us because they're afraid.
Yep.
And I get that because we would have certainly criminals contacting ICE and say, hey, my girlfriend or my wife is here illegally, go arrest her and deport her so she won't be available for court. I get that. But look at the effects we've had from these kinds of policies.
Well, Kory,
so,
this is fascinating. I want to have a longer conversation with you. I'm going to connect with you offline here. I think I just texted you, so check that out.
Yep.
But you seem freed up to be able to talk about this, and I would love to have a longer conversation. So follow up online. But Kory, incredible insight. Really appreciate you taking time this morning. We've got You Choose the News coming up. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
great conversation with both Lauren Boebert and Kory Nelson. I'm going to see if we can get Kory for a longer conversation because I think he has some very unique insights. So stick around. We may be able to do that tomorrow. It's that time of the morning we got to give the people what they want. Bill, it's You Choose the News.
Yes, it is that time of the morning where we get to make questionable decisions, something we call You Choose the News. It's America's favorite fake radio news game show. I've spent moments this morning scouring the interwebs for really dumb stories about ourselves and then give them even more ridiculous headlines to play this fake radio news game show with you. Why? Nobody in charge wakes up for about another 9 minutes, so we are going to take full advantage of being left unsupervised. Yes, in part growing up, Jeff and I are both latchkey kids, and boy, did we learn a lot about being left unsupervised. But those are stories for other days when our parents aren't listening. Right now, we will stick with just what is on the schedule, and that is You Choose the News. Of course, as always, Blake Olson is joining us from the news department. Jeff is in the studio. Gentlemen, here are your choices this morning. Headline number 1, a common way to fight. Headline number 2, Shaggy did it first. Headline number 3, taking the love train. And headline number 4, when angels are forced out of heaven, they become devils. Mr. Hunt, your choice.
Let's do the best way to fight.
Yes, a common way to fight. The science hippies believe they have found a new way to fight the big C, cancer. And you probably have it in your medicine cabinet or in a cabinet at home. Aspirin. So far in experiments, the people with the lab coats show that the drug enhanced the ability of the immune system to fight back. The team at the University of Cambridge says this is a surprising and exciting discovery. It could lead to cancer patients being better prescribed on the drug and getting a good drug regimen. Regular aspirin does come with risks, and trials are being decided right now, so don't just do this on your own. But data shows people who were already taking a daily aspirin were more likely to survive after they were diagnosed with cancer. But how? They think they've unlocked the reason. It appears that there is a moment of vulnerability for the cancer when a lone cell breaks off from the original tumor and tries, like a seed in the wind, to spread elsewhere in the body. When it's trying to do this, it looks like the aspirin enhances the immune defenses and allows the white blood cells to attack the spread of the cancer. So,
wow.
Yeah, look at
Dude,
that.
that is really interesting.
Awesome. I know. Every once in a while, I bring things that are intelligent.
I'm 100% a hypochondriac. When I see stories about cancer, I'm like, oh, my goodness, I might get that. So,
oh, yeah. That's why I don't go to WebMD, because that website should be renamed youhavecancer.com. Because everything you choose, you have cancer.
Daily aspirin.
Yes. Yes, exactly. So be on a daily aspirin. Yes. All righty. Mr. Olson in the newsroom. Yep. Shaggy did it first, taking the love train, or when angels are forced out of heaven, they become devils.
People all over the world.
Taking the love train.
There you go.
Here we go.
Thank you.
Hey, I know the song. That's all right.
I know.
Just you and me. Jeff has no idea what we're talking about. That's okay. We won't hold it against him.
He does.
Okay. A Missouri man has been charged with not his first but his second time in the last 12 months trying to engage in lovemaking with an actual seat on the Metrolink train.
Oh,
yes.
No. People are so weird.
D'Angelo Covington was charged this week by St. Louis County prosecutors, 2 counts of misdemeanor sexual misconduct, because you can't assault a train. A woman told investigators that on February 13th, she saw a man exposing himself and rubbing up against one of the handrails there. He had exposed his genitals and proceeded to have intimate relations with the upper bar of one of the train seats for about 10 minutes. And in public. That's the other part. With windows next to you. There are so many questions about choices.
Exactly.
The odd thing is he had just been released from a Covington County jail about 2 weeks before that on a sexual misconduct charge from last year.
No way!
Yeah, he had been seen by a train engineer with his said genitals exposed, attempting yet again to engage in sexual activity with the train.
Don't we castrate these people? Do we do that still anymore?
I'm just thinking, what I'm thinking is not just castrate him, just get him his own train car at home. I mean, we could just spend the money.
Just don't make it Thomas.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, don't make it Thomas. Yes. I mean, just, I'm thinking, just, why can't you? It could be, he can have his OnlyFans. There are things there. I'm just saying, man, just there are possibilities here.
Mental illness.
Yes.
Man.
Oh, yes, exactly. The whole thing is I've never been on public transportation, looked at a seat and said, need some of that. I just never. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm different.
What's wrong with you?
I know. Maybe I'm different. Maybe I'm just not attracted by the weird
you're
patterns
so
in the
weird.
cushions or something. Yes. Alrighty. Jeff on final choice this morning. Shaggy did it first, or when angels are forced out of heaven, they become devils.
Angels in heaven.
Yes, when angels are forced out of heaven, they become devils. You may recognize this if you're an anime fan from episode 5 in Cowboy Bebop. And math solutions can be hard, but it is an anime fan that has discovered a mathematical puzzle solution that has basically stumped the smarty pantses for years. It's about order of operations. I wish I had more time to talk about it, but he has diagnosed using anime a long-time mathematical puzzle. So yeah, those Japanese cartoons can solve problems too. Take that. That's the end of you choose.
Bill, if you knew how much that complicated my life, I'll talk to you about that. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
710 KNUS.
It is 7 a.m. in the Mile High City on this Thursday, March 6, 2025. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. You've tuned into the Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710 KNUS. I'm your co-host, Jeff Hunt, along with Bill Thorpe, bringing you the freshest insights and hottest takes from the right, left, and center. Congratulations. You just woke up in the greatest country in history. Donald Trump's your president. You're heading to work. You're making this country better. You're growing a family. You're caring for people. That's what we love about our listeners. We're out there making things happen, and we're just trying to provide a little entertainment, information, as you head out to make America great again. All right, coming up this hour, we're going to talk with Sherronna Bishop. You know her as America's mom. Give us an update on Tina Peters. I'm hearing some rumblings that things may be changing a little bit, so excited to chat with her. She's going to be coming up here in just a second. Hopefully things are changing for Tina. I just don't agree with the 9-year sentence. That's for me, that's where I see pure political engagement and lawfare to try to send a message, all while Jenna Griswold, who in part violated the same law that Tina Peters did, is running for governor. Because that's how Colorado does it. So, interested to talk with Sherronna Bishop and get an update on Tina Peters. In the 8 o'clock hour, John Fabbricatore is going to be joining us. He was testifying in Congress on Tuesday. And then we're going to talk about the hearings yesterday with all those mayors there. One of the things I just found fascinating was Michelle Wu, who's the mayor of Boston. I had no idea who this person was, hadn't heard of her. Seems like a perfectly pleasant person. She had a 4-week-old baby with her, and her husband was traveling with her, so they actually took nursing breaks yesterday, which, look, I'm all pro-family, so that didn't bother me at all, and I actually find it quite refreshing to see people like Brittany Pedersen with her child and this mayor with her child, to see Democrats actually raising babies. That's a nice turn. That's a nice turn of things happening. But she was basically saying we have no idea how much crime is associated with illegal immigration because we don't even count it. And I'm sitting there going, wouldn't you at least want to know as the mayor? If you're having illegal immigrants coming into your communities, and if they are contributing to crime, wouldn't you want to know that? So that you could adjust policies to improve your communities. They don't even count that. It was wild. And then the Chicago mayor, this guy's got a 6% approval rating. And I saw one headline that said some diseases have a higher approval rating than the mayor of Chicago does at a 6% approval rating. Then you had the Denver mayor, Mayor Johnston, and then you had Eric Adams and the Democrats trying to go after him. We're going to talk all that with Fab in the 8 o'clock hour and 9 o'clock hour, so lots to cover. You're not going to want to miss this, but let's start first with news. Blake Olson.
Blake Olson. Blake Olson, news and comment.
Thanks a lot, Jeff and Billy. Jeff, we'll talk about the mayor Wu. Oh my goodness, what a disaster. 33 and cloudy in Denver, expecting a high of 54 today. The 7-10 5-day forecast coming up. Our top story.
To me, after this line of questioning, it's very clear that these policies that you have all implicated are active and alive and well in your cities, are in direct violation with U.S. Title 8 Code subsection 1324, and is a federal offense.
Representative Anna Paulina Luna on Wednesday, a congressional committee threatening further action against Denver Mayor Mayor Johnston. Following the hearing that Jeff was at and attended, of course, in D.C., Johnston joined 3 other lefty mayors to testify before the House Oversight and Government Affairs Committee Wednesday. Representative Lauren Boebert on the show last hour. She made it all happen for Jeff to attend and was one of the patriots standing up for the citizens of Denver and Colorado.
We have laws that are already on the books. We already have them. And we have state laws that contradict our immigration laws. And we have a Denver mayor who has not called to repeal those state laws. And he has not even asked his city council for a vote to repeal an ordinance in his city that prohibits ICE from working with local law enforcement, or local law enforcement working with ICE and coordinating and communicating with them. So this was something I really wanted to hone in on because it's a big deal in Colorado. We have a lawsuit with our...
Back to Anna Paulina Luna.
But you all speak about a broken immigration system, and yet here you guys are aiding and abetting in that entire process. I want to be very clear about something. Open border policies, which is something that you guys are talking about, hurts people on both sides, meaning the people that are coming here illegally and then American citizens as well. I do not think you guys are bad people, but I think that you are ideologically misled, which is why, unfortunately, based on your responses, I'm all going to be criminally referring you to the Department of Justice for investigation. And as soon as I leave here, these will be going over to Pam Bondi.
The president reportedly planning to sign an executive order, possibly as soon as today, aimed at effectively shutting down the Department of Education. The draft order seen by the Wall Street Journal will directly newly confirmed Education Secretary Linda McMahon to take all steps permitted by law to facilitate the department's closure. Fully closing the department would likely require congressional action. The Supreme Court has ruled that the government doesn't need to grant veterans the benefit of the doubt when it comes to approving disability benefits. In a 7-2 decision Wednesday, the justices said that the Veterans Court doesn't have to start from the beginning to review evidence when looking at benefits denial as a result of a close call. The court can only reverse a denial for a clear error. All right, 13-year-old DJ Daniel, once again, the police fan, wants to be a police officer and is, actually, and Secret Service, hanging out at the White House on Wednesday. And remember, he's had 13 brain surgeries. He actually says he's had 13 different personalities because of it. And you can understand that. Continues to make people laugh and smile.
He has one more thing to say. I won't interrupt you.
If you're a Democrat and you're being mean to President Trump, I'm on your...
Oh, wait a minute. I played the wrong one. I apologize. Let's see. Here we go.
Officer or agent, DJ Daniel, all of the above?
It really don't matter to me. I love women, so I don't care.
That's amazing. DJ Daniel, I want to ask you, first and foremost, do you love President Trump? And are you so excited to be here on the White House grounds?
Obviously, because I gave him a great note that says Donald Trump is the best president of the United States of America.
And why do you feel that way?
Because honestly wanted to see Donald Trump in real life, and now it's actually came true. And to my friends, I know one of my friends told me to say this to Donald Trump, but I didn't say it to him. So good luck, buddy.
What a personality.
Was that, who's that? Was that DJ?
That's DJ, yeah.
That was DJ. And we ran out of time with Lauren Boebert. I was going to ask her because she got to meet DJ. I saw some video where he was getting mocked for wearing his uniform and stuff like that.
Yes. They're twerking around him. Just a bunch of knucklehead, looks like knuckleheads.
Yeah, and
middle schoolers,
right?
High schoolers.
And then for that kid to be that kid is at the State of the Union. The whole nation's eyes on him. It's a good reminder that those that are doing the mocking, man, just let the haters hate.
They look like fools.
They do. They look like fools. And this young man at literally the pinnacle of the nation's attention right now.
Oh, he's taking the nation by storm, man. There's no doubt. His personality is so. I mean, it's great, man.
That's awesome.
It's
good
pretty
kid.
funny.
That was so powerful, and his dad too. Oh,
yeah, what a great dad, man.
Lifting him up, being so excited.
Yeah, it just looks like a great family and everything. You know what district he's in, right?
No.
He's in Al Green's district.
Shut up.
That's what makes it so
No
great.
way.
The pimp with the cane.
Didn't you like Lauren Boebert's line on that? The Pipcane.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
what an
awesome.
embarrassment he was.
He really was. And I heard someone say, what do you call it, the Monopoly man, or the guy in Monopoly with the cane and the hat or whatever. Oh man, that was a great night.
Dude, and JD Vance looking like he was gonna personally escort him out.
Yeah, man, that was awesome.
I got JD Vance wrong initially. I kind of saw him a little wonkish,
Same here.
kind of a quiet. This dude is legendary, right? The whole Oval Office exchange where he's got Trump's back there, and then the joint address to Congress where he's about ready to crawl over and grab Al Green and drag it out himself. Having a Marine as the Vice President of the United States has been fantastic.
Definitely. I think it's so cool, and the dude is so quick, man. He is so good on TV. He's so good on just sound bites and quotes and everything. Man. Smart, so smart. No, I'm right there with you. 30 in North Glen, 32 in Castle Pines, and it's 33 sunny or cloudy actually in Denver. Jeff and Billy continue. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
It's going to be a chilly, blustery day here. We have another system approaching, thickening and increasing clouds, highs 50s, chance of rain and snow showers developing Thursday afternoon and evening. Thursday night, a chance of snow showers, lower 30s, and we could see some areas of light snow, colder, highs only in the 30s Friday, then another stretch of high pressure for the weekend. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center. Pretty good looking Wednesday for Denver. The areas of light rain and snow Thursday night into early Friday and colder. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. We'll get to Sherronna Bishop in just a little bit. I want to talk to you about my friends over at Mountain High Appliance. It's a new year, and it's time to get that kitchen upgrade. Save big during Mountain High Appliance's President's Day event, still going on. Save up to $3,700 on premium KitchenAid appliances. KitchenAid has been a trusted name in homes and professional kitchens around the world for over 100 years. Built to last and made for those who love to cook. When you think appliances, be sure to be thinking Mountain High Appliance. They're doing a fantastic job. Another great guy doing good work is our friends over at Art of Granite. This is Mitch Floria. All right. Mitch is a guy I've gotten to meet, and when you walk into his office, he's got the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence.
Pretty good looking Wednesday for Denver, the Front Range. We're in between storm systems. We'll make the 50s today, sunny to partly sunny and not nearly as windy. Lows tonight near 30 with increasing clouds.
Spend that with Mitch Floria because you're investing in a good, solid, principle-based business. Let me tell you why you should call Mitch Floria, the Art of Granite, and so he could put together the perfect kitchen or bathroom remodel for you. Quality craftsmanship. Mitch is such an expert and craftsman that he can turn granite, quartz, marble, and other materials into a true work of art right in your home. Superior service from single residential installations to large-scale projects. Mitch and his team's attention to details unmatched. They will listen to you and get you what you need. Great value. Mitch provides granite from his own warehouse in Denver West at wholesale prices with no markup, so you can get the most for your budget. All you have to do, mention KNUS and receive a bathroom countertop free when you purchase your fantastic new kitchen countertops. You can also get a kitchen or bathroom sink free when you purchase any countertop package. Schedule a consultation with Mitch and visit his beautiful showroom in Denver West, or call Mitch at 303-386-5919. That's 303-386-5919. Or you can visit his website at theartofgranite.com to start dreaming about your new countertops. That's theartofgranite.com. All right, Bill, do we have her Zoom or phone? Zoom. All right, we've got her joining us. You know her as America's Mom. Sherronna Bishop joins us. Give us an update on how Tina Peters is doing. Sherronna has been with Tina through all of these activities. I really appreciate you taking time to join the Jeff and Bill show. Sherronna, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you guys so much. Jeff, thank you so much. We've had a lot of, I wouldn't say diabolical conversations, but I really appreciate your graciousness in letting me come on and talk a little bit about this entire situation. I did listen to a little bit of the previous hour, and I'm just confused, Bill. What is it that you think Tina Peters did? I think we should start there, because if I do a Google search on the headlines, I would think that Tina Peters interfered in an election. And that same lie was mimicked over and over and over, both by Phil Weiser post Judge Barrett's sentencing of Tina Peters and Jenna Griswold's comments post-sentencing of Tina Peters. So can we please start there? What is it exactly that you think she did that warrants 9 years?
Now, the issue is the 9 years I don't necessarily agree with, but I do believe that she was convicted of several felonies and several misdemeanors based on her actions that she took in order to steal information she was not entitled to. That's the easiest way to put it.
What is the crime that she committed? Who was harmed? What is the crime that was committed that was a felony?
So it's about direct harm. So in theories, white collar crimes wouldn't be direct harm, correct? I'm just wondering what level.
There needs to be someone who was harmed.
You're talking about harm. So as long as I can point to no one being harmed, I can do what I need to, correct? Because the idea is she broke the law. There are rules that are governing Sherronna. There are rules that are governing her access to the information. There are rules that are governing who can have access to that information.
Oh yeah, no. There are rules that
are governing how and where she can take and download that information. She violated those rules.
Yeah, that's not what she was charged with. No, that's not correct. That's not correct, Bill. And that's why I'm asking the question. And don't feel bad, because the media has done a really bang-up job of
Sherronna, I don't feel bad about this.
Literally a lie.
I don't feel bad about this. I know that she was convicted on 3 felony counts of attempted to influence a public servant, 1 felony of conspiracy to commit criminal impersonation, misdemeanor of official misconduct, misdemeanor violations of duty of an election. There are some other stuff that she was not convicted of, but I'm aware of those. But it doesn't mean
there's
those
nothing
crimes
there about
didn't
interfering
exist.
in elections. There's nothing in there about interfering in elections.
So
there
what?
was no election breach by Clerk Tina Peters. There was the deletion of over 26,000 election records by Dominion voting machines, and there still has been no investigation into that. Every time they did a trusted build across the state of Colorado,
that's covered by federal and state. That is covered by federal and state laws.
Those federal and state laws, and there's been no investigation, Bill.
Wait, hang on.
No investigation.
They're covered. No, Sherronna.
No prosecution.
Sherronna. Those files are not required to be saved based on federal and state law.
That's not correct.
Federal and state law. No, that's federal and state law. They don't
have to.
That's
not correct.
Nope. Yes, it is,
That's
Sherronna.
not correct.
Yes,
it says
Sherronna,
that every bit of election information must be preserved. There's been no investigation. There's been no prosecution. There's been no charges brought to Dominion.
No, you're wrong.
Let me tell you what happens with Dominion voting machines.
You're flat
when you
out
come
wrong.
up against
Sherronna,
them,
nope, stop.
That is not.
Sherronna, stop right
I was there. I read the law.
I know you were there. I
know exactly what we're talking about.
Yes, you helped further this criminal conspiracy. I know you were there. Yes, that came up in testimony. No. The issue is this. No, Sherronna,
the criminal conspiracy is Dominion voting machines being allowed to delete over 26,000 election logs and never being investigated for it. And not only that, they commit lawfare against everybody who brings questions. John Eastman, Sidney Powell, Mike Lindell, Patrick Navarro, Steve Bannon, President Trump. Anyone who decides to question the elections ends up in massive court. And literally, if Tina Peters had not had exposure, had not had a platform a little bit, at the very least, of what we were able to provide for her, if she hadn't had that, her legal fees have been well over $2 million to fight a company that's in 26 states that has a very unhealthy relationship with elected officials, with Secretary of States, and incredible partnerships with judges, federal judges across the country as well. Bill, that you can't open those machines now. And the supposed things that Tina Peters did, the forensic image, that was not against the law.
Yes,
it was not against the law to take a before and after image at all.
Yes, the way that she did
it, yes. No, it was not.
Sherronna,
it was made illegal in 22. No, it was not. SB 163. Jenna Griswold created that law in 22 to prevent any clerk from, number one, doing a private audit, and number two, making a forensic image of the machine. That's what I'm saying, Bill. This is the prime example. This has been misinformation by the media, and consequently, Jillian Rubinstein is District Attorney Dan Rubinstein's brother. He runs Colorado Legacy Media. He works with the New York Post. He works with WAPO. He has extensive reach across this country in media. I find it really interesting that they were able to create this narrative regarding Tina Peters to make her look as crazy as hell, and then also propagate this lie that you're literally proving my point, that she somehow interfered in elections and committed an election breach. It was not illegal. It was not illegal to create a forensic image. Bill, it was not illegal. You let me know when I
get to talk, because you're making lots of speeches, but we're not discussing this at all.
Well, I listened to you in the first half, and you're incorrect.
The first half? I didn't talk anything about Tina Peters in the first half of the show. I didn't do anything in the first hour. I don't know what you're referring to. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. Maybe you guys were talking yesterday about it. I'm not sure. I was listening on the KNUS.
Didn't do anything. Didn't do anything yesterday on Tina Peters either.
I've heard your comments. Okay,
I don't know what you're referencing,
comments regarding Clerk Peters.
Yeah, I've been very open about my
comments about Tina Peters. I've heard your comments that she deserves 9 years.
Let's do this.
She deserves 9 years.
No, I didn't say that.
You did.
No, I didn't, Sherronna. And I just at the
beginning. Can we
play
back the tape?
Sherronna.
Let's play back the tape.
I mean, Bill. I'll defend Bill here in the sense that he has said over and over again he does not believe that she should have been punished to 9 years, but he does believe she was guilty of those crimes.
Okay, so what is the, again, we're going to have to go back to that. Let's kind of pick up what Jeff was talking about with the First Amendment protections and why it is that an inquiry of interest has even been made into Clerk Peters. Okay, let me back up.
Yeah, let's get to the inquiry coming from the Department of Justice with regards to Tina Peters. Is this hopeful for you? Do you think she's going to get out early because of it?
I think it's really interesting that it came up, and there was the question that you presented over her First Amendment protection.
Yeah.
And you were looking for the quote, by the way, that Rubinstein and Boebert had issued. Rubinstein's quote, I think, literally is going to be the reason that this gets completely thrown out, not just overturned, but thrown out. This is his statement right after the sentencing of Clerk Peters. He says, I think Judge Boebert's sentence really sends a strong message that if you are put in a position of authority and you're given a bully pulpit to get up and say things, that we expect you to do so responsibly. Oh, and to follow the law. So, I mean, he's letting people know it was her words. Judge Boebert, in his sentencing, repeatedly talked about the Trump conspiracy, talked about the 2020 elections. And I guess since I was there, as Bill pointed out, the unindicted co-conspirator, as you pointed out, the whole purpose behind even investigating this election was from the 2021 municipal election. That was a Grand Junction City Council election that had really bizarre results that none of us could wrap our hands around, to be quite frank with you. So canvassing efforts began because of that election, had nothing to do with Trump's 2020 election. That's why this wasn't a federal case, is because there's nothing tying President Trump at all to the actions that Clerk Peters decided to take on behalf of hundreds of people in her community that said, we don't think that things are right with this election. It was the 2021 municipal. So after that, you have Phil Weiser, of course, talking about how he has a commitment to justice and his collaboration with the office to hold Tina Peters accountable. And then we have Jenna Griswold again, also saying, Phil Weiser again, Tina Peters violated her duty as an election official and seriously compromised trust with her fellow Coloradans. Today, the court handed down a fair and just sentence for her criminal acts, which put the safety of our elections and the freedom and safety of others at risk. Again, that's the rhetoric, that's the narrative that's been put out there. There was no, at any time, any possibility that elections were interfered with or could have been interfered with by taking a forensic image. It was literally a snapshot of what was going on in the machines, which she had full legal right in the state of Colorado to do. It became illegal in 22 after Jenna Griswold ran the bill to, quote, preserve elections, protect elections in Colorado. It was not illegal at all. So here's what's been interesting, I really think, about all this and why there is this interest. They've made too many statements publicly damning Tina's speech, damning that she talked about President Trump. Judge Boebert says that her dangerous attempts to break into her own election equipment to prove Trump's, quote, big lie. He was obsessed with President Trump. Matthew Barrett was. Clerk Peters was not. We were trying to get to the bottom of the 2021 municipal election. So statements like that betray their real, what I think was Judge Barrett's real motive, Jenna Griswold's real motive, Phil Weiser's real motive, was to basically silence everybody who was looking into, eventually, obviously, the report came out regarding the 2020 election from those machines, Mesa County 1, 2, and 3. Those reports are made by men who work for the Department of Defense, who are contractors to the federal government. If the reports they make regarding those machines are good enough for them, then I think it's good enough for the people of Mesa County.
Sherronna,
so
I want to ask you. I want to ask you about 20 and 21, though. So.
And when do I get a chance in here? Because she came on here and talked about me, and she started interrogating me earlier. When do I get a chance?
Go ahead,
I've tried to ask several questions, and she just runs over the top of me. I've run into this on CX debate over and over and over again, where you just run and run and run and run and run. And by the time you finish up and get to the end of the multiple paragraphs, we are so far away from where the conversation started.
Okay.
So when you want to have a conversation about it, let me know. If you just want to have speeches, Sherronna, go right ahead. I will let you go here and just over and over and over again.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, you talked about 20,000 files. Were those required to be retained based on law?
Yes, they were.
No, they weren't. Then those are the files that are referred to and logged in the research report number 1. No, they're not covered. They're not required to be retained by federal law. But that's okay, nor by state law.
Yes, they were.
That's it.
And state law.
No, they're not, Sherronna. No. That's incorrect. You
Bill,
misunderstand it. No, you misunderstand it. That's
not
correct. That is not correct. Next, let's go on to this. You talked about the idea of it being totally legal what Tina did. If that's true, why did Tina need to create a fake employee ID and use it surreptitiously to get a different person in there and download voter information after turning off the cameras in a sensitive information in a sensitive area?
There was no voter information downloaded. A snapshot. The forensic image is a snapshot of the system. Voter information. There's no sacred voter information that was downloaded. It's a snapshot of the system. What was happening at that time?
Sherronna, that's not the answer to my question.
So your question is why did she? You're asking why did she have to have someone else come in?
Why did she have to create a fake employee ID and then lie about who that person is, turn off the security cameras to get access to the machines to download the information, all of which you said was legal? Is that the actions of someone that is engaging in something that is legal?
Yes.
No, it's
Tina
not.
Peters went to the IT team.
Come on.
Do you want me to answer, Bill? Hey, Bill, you want me to answer? Do you want me to answer or not?
Yes, please do, because what I asked you about is her creating... Sherronna, I asked you about, again, putting a point on this.
Bill,
I asked you about her creating
this is impossible to even get a word out.
You had several minutes to run off at the mouth earlier in this conversation, okay? Now, I get to ask some questions.
Bill, you're showing your cards,
But
Bill.
you asked her, you did ask her a question, so let her answer. Go ahead.
You asked me a question. So here's what happened. Tina Peters goes to the IT guys, Dave Underwood, and says, hey, we need to make a forensic image. Will you do it? He says, no, I'm not doing it. So then Jerry Wood had said, I will offer up my services. I'll help with whatever I can. Clerk Peters says, okay, we need a forensic image. He says, great, happy to do it. He gets all of his stuff done, gets his name badge, only to say a day or two before the trusted build is going to happen that he doesn't have the expertise after all. He doesn't know how to make a forensic image after all. So then we say, well, Conan Hayes has the greatest security clearance of anybody in the country. He's worked for the CIA. He has done many projects for the CIA, actually. He's been an asset for the CIA since he was 18 years old. His father worked for the CIA as well. He's got the greatest background clearance. We ran it by legal, and they said this is going to be the person that is going to be able to come in and do the forensic image. The gravity of what was happening, what we believe and have been able to demonstrate happened with the Dominion voting machines, that was Clerk Peters' call. And she decided that was worth the risk, and she made that decision to have Conan come in and do the forensic image. That was important to her,
but that's illegal.
She did it.
She took somebody else's credential to do that.
And she didn't tell anybody else in that room or that facility that it wasn't Gerald Wood. She represented...
That is correct.
That's illegal.
That is correct, and she owns that.
There we go. And
she owns that.
And again,
it's a misdemeanor based off there,
If she thought that what she was doing is legal, why lie about who's coming into the room and use somebody's ID? If she thought what she was doing was above board.
That's a great question. Thank you for asking that, actually. And Conan Hayes would have loved to explain that, but unfortunately he was not subpoenaed to testify. His affidavit that he provided to the court also was barred from being presented as evidence for the court and for the jury to read. So the reason for that is Conan, of course, was responsible for taking down Backpage. He has worked extensively in child trafficking. There are issues with him and Kamala Harris. And if you remember, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were running this country, and he did not feel that it would be wise at all for his name to be on anything that would bring attention to Clerk Tina Peters. Unfortunately, that testimony was not heard in court, and his affidavit was not allowed to be seen or read in court. He was the best that this country has to offer to do a forensic image.
Cool. Yeah, everybody agreed we should lie about it. misrepresented. Everybody agreed. Good job.
The image needed to be done, and it has exposed that Dominion voting machines is doing a lot of corrupt behavior.
No,
so
it didn't expose that at all.
And the image, the image
does not need to be done. Sherronna, the image did not need to be done. If Tina understood what she was doing,
yes, it did.
She needed to download that information beforehand. Oh, she can believe that, but she can also believe.
It did, and that image is being used in court cases across the country that are proving that Dominion voting machines has been nefarious and has been conducting nefarious elections across the country. So we are all thankful to her, and we owe her a tremendous debt, which is why I'm here. Which is why I'm here talking with you, Bill.
No.
I know it's hard for you to understand.
No, it's not hard. It's the idea that you started at a conclusion. You're working backwards. It's not hard at all. I've walked through all this information for years. And the idea that you just said there is that, yes, Tina and Mr. Hayes made the decision to lie about who was walking into that room. That was not okay. That's against the law. You don't get to misrepresent someone there. And you get to do that. That's fine. Yeah, I know you've come to the conclusion that Dominion is absolutely wrong, just like you came to the conclusion incorrectly about the 20,000 files. That's incorrect. Tina was wrong about
28,000.
Well, I know I'm just using a round number because you started with 26 and then we went to 28. I'm just using it for ease.
But Sherronna, the question that Bill often brings up that I think is a very fair question is if Dominion was so wrong, why did Fox settle? I mean, for that amount of money, too.
Because Fox has no spine, and quite, let me be fair to them, actually. Let me be fair to them. Everyone who has decided to talk about what happened in the electronic voting machines on the 2020 election, the 22 election, have all been weaponized against. Either if you're an attorney who decided to represent somebody, you've had your law license gone after by the Lincoln Project and by the 76 group, I can't remember, sorry, I can't think of the project name that goes after all of the attorneys that represented anyone working on behalf of the elections and of course, if you were working on behalf of President Trump. So there's been tremendous lawfare that has happened to anyone who stands up against Dominion or says anything about them. They sue you for libel. Mike Lindell's been sued for $5 billion, even though I've seen all of the evidence. I've seen the encryption keys. You know, Jenna Griswold, I mean, maybe, Bill, you can explain this to me. These machines do have BIOS passwords. Clerk Peters did not expose a BIOS password, but Jenna Griswold did, but she happens to partner with Dominion voting machines, so she was let off the hook for exposing 63 counties' BIOS passwords pre-primary, during the primary, and into the general election. That, according to Colorado state law, is a felony. She should be spending almost 500 years in prison based off of how they determined Tina Peters' sentence, but nothing has happened. When you come up against these electronic voting machine companies, you face tremendous vitriol, you face tremendous lawfare. It costs you everything. OAN is still involved in a lawsuit with them. Newsmax is still involved in a lawsuit with them, simply because they questioned what was happening the night of the elections with the machines. We've had a lot of Colorado Springs 2020 election. I was receiving emails from Peter, who was working in Chuck. I'm sorry, I can't remember his last name right now, but Chuck was the clerk there at the time. And when they were transferring the votes up to the Secretary of State's office, they were adding an extra 20%, 25% voters. We don't even know who those voters were. And of course, they called and said, this isn't right. The numbers don't look right on your end, Secretary of State Jenna Griswold. And do you know that they ended up calling Chuck's office and telling them how they could manually adjust the numbers on the machines? I didn't even know that was possible. The machines have allowed, and Dominion specifically, they're banned from 136 countries except for America. We've filed these lawsuits that are still pending right now that have all the evidence encapsulated in them. Bill, I'd love for you to see it.
I guess,
because at the end of the day,
I'm just confused as to, this has been going on now for 5 years, and there's not a single court in America that's figured this out.
No, that's not what's happened. No judge has been willing to rule on it. They've dismissed it without prejudice.
That's incorrect.
Because they didn't.
It's completely incorrect.
That is.
I mean,
really?
Yes, you're completely incorrect on that one. You're completely incorrect. Let's go back to a couple of things here. First, the reason about Jenna. I agree that Jenna should face some criminal charges, but intent is vitally important in those charges at that point. And you have openly demonstrated the intent of Tina Peters to violate the law. She created a criminal conspiracy along with your help in order to violate the law, in order to hide what was going on. And the idea that there's no harm doesn't mean if someone is a drunk driver, leaves the bar, and gets home safe, they can't be prosecuted for drunk driving. There's no harm
so there was
per
no
se
criminal
there.
Conspiracy
There's no harm there. Then why did you go?
And there was no harm done to any.
No, stop. I'm going to turn you off at that point. You got a lot of time to talk here. Okay, Sherronna, you're going to have to answer this one. Please. Why did you all create a way to hide your communications and lie about Hayes getting access to the room if everything you were doing was above board and you weren't trying to hide it and it wasn't a criminal conspiracy?
The decision at the end of the day to do whatever Clerk Peters decided to do to preserve those records was up to her.
As well.
And again, post all of this, I absolutely support what she did.
I
do. I support her.
You may help make the decisions.
Thank you, Bill. I've been very vocal. I've been very public. You're not putting me on the spot here. I've been very vocal about my support, and I absolutely believe that there's a much bigger problem here, which is the stealing of our elections through Dominion voting machines and electronic machines in general. Clerk Peters did her job that she was called to do as the official election clerk for Mesa County. There were unprecedented things that happened, obviously, in the 2020 election, but that was not the motivation. It was the 2021 municipal election where we did canvassing, where we exposed affidavit after affidavit of people who said they did not vote in the election, yet they showed they cast a ballot. People who did vote, and their ballot wasn't there. When Clerk Peters decided to make the forensic image, she needed to make sure that she did it right, and she did. And I completely support her in doing that. She brought in someone who was the most capable, most qualified, had every background check available. And by the way, Jerry Wood agreed to allow Conan Hayes to use his card. That wasn't up to me. I have nothing to do with that, and I wasn't in that room. Jerry Wood, for the sake of his country, I don't make that decision.
I know, but you just said Jerry. You just said Jerry did. It doesn't matter what Jerry thinks.
Jerry Wood. Yeah, it was his name badge.
But
it was
his.
No, I don't. No. He was responsible for 2 additional felonies against Tina Peters for lying under oath and perjuring himself, saying he had no idea what was going on and that he did not allow Conan Hayes to use his name badge. It's a name badge. It's a swiping card. It's a Sam's Club card. You swipe it to get in the room. Many people had that card. He said, absolutely, he can use my card. Let me know how it's going. So I'm not sure what picture you're trying to paint here. I know you want to hang on to.
It was so above board. Sure, I know. It was so above board. They had to lie about who was walking into the room that day. It was so above board that you had to turn off the cameras and give Hayes access to the system outside of anybody else being in that room. It was so above board you had to hide your communications.
Someday it's going to make sense
all
to you.
About that. No, I've done all the research. Someday it'll make sense to you. Tina was wrong. She was wrong, and it was part of a criminal conspiracy. She cannot open up an independent investigation on her own. She lied about who was there. She lied about what she was doing, and she went through.
She ran this by Congresswoman Lauren Boebert. She ran this by multiple elected officials in the area.
One of these steps.
She was not on her own. She sought legal counsel.
You helped out a lot.
She was not.
And you both were wrong.
You know what? And I will help anyone who's trying to stay within the law to do what is the right thing by the people. I absolutely will, and I stand by that. She went to Lauren Boebert and said, "This is what needs to happen. What do you think?" Congresswoman Lauren Boebert said, "You go get him, girl. I'll have your back."
Yeah, and again, you act as if these aren't computers.
Tina Peters did not act independently.
I know.
She did not act independently.
Yeah, I know. She had a criminal conspiracy. That's what she got found guilty of felonies.
Who were qualified and going by the law.
She hid it.
Absolutely.
And then, she wasn't going by the law. She did not turn off the cameras. She can't do the things. And you can't answer the answer. And you can't answer why Fox News can't prove what you say is self-evident. You got nothing. I mean, I understand that this is a strong belief, but you can stand outside. You can walk outside your house and believe you can fly to the moon. Good luck. It doesn't mean it's true. And nobody's been able to prove this in court.
No one. We'll see.
Guys,
we have a lot of people who've been afraid to do the right thing, but they're not anymore.
Fox News paid nearly $800 million because there was no
truth
behind what you're saying.
America's mom
Nothing.
joining us. Thank you for the
guys.
fun conversation. Sure appreciate it. I want to make it crystal clear, and I think Bill would agree with me. We're 5 years into this now.
Yeah.
Okay. I remember initially going, wow, there's some stuff there I'd like to go see. We're going to unleash the crack and all that stuff. And I put my faith in some of those people. For me, 5 years in, the Dominion stuff, I don't see it. I haven't seen the evidence of it. I mean, maybe it's there. But guys,
there is none.
We're 5 years into this now.
There's nothing there, and here's why it's self-evident. Because Fox News and the giant check.
Yeah.
Fox News is not going to write a huge check in order to protect the Biden administration. And we've outlined over and over again in defamation and libel law, telling the truth is an absolute defense.
Get you out of it.
They could have used Tina's 3 reports, of which they were aware of because there was reporting on Fox News about them. They were aware of them. If it showed anything, they would have had it. And what Sherronna just did there is a thing in cross-examination cross-examination debate in which it's called spread. All she did is she started at point one and wanted to run as far as she possibly can afield and run as many things to hope that I can't cover up every single point she says. And then she's saying, see, because you didn't refer to this thing that I said 4.5 minutes ago, I win. It is a crap debate technique, and it's crap on the air. And if she wants to come back here and have a discussion, an actual debate, she's more than welcome.
I did appreciate the debate.
She can go, and I let her make all the speeches she wanted.
She was right there. She was right there in the midst of all of this.
Help break the law. Good job.
No, I disagree with that. And I disagree with the notion that she should have had her door kicked in, which I wanted to get to, and police storming through her house.
If what she was doing is, why did she help hide all this information? Why was this something in which we pretended that it was Gerald Wood walking into the room?
Yeah,
why did we turn the cameras off and give Hayes access?
She even agreed to that, and that should have been a misdemeanor.
After hours,
that should have been a misdemeanor.
Hayes had access to.
And I want to know. And I want to know too how this got online.
I want to know on the side of the law. Why are you doing it in the dark? Why are you doing it in the dark if you think you have the law on your side?
Yeah.
You don't.
Well, they admitted to that.
And when they
but
walked
kicking
inside,
in their doors and all that stuff, everything she had to go through.
Oh, no,
come on.
I know, but oh my gosh, police going too far. Well, we have dozens and dozens and dozens examples of that. Okay, but it doesn't mean she's telling the truth. Doesn't mean she has the proof. She can believe all she wants.
We are
nothing.
So far over time. All right, that was fun. Thank you both.
That was embarrassing.
Appreciate
it.
She
don't want to debate the conversation. She
You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader News Talk 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Boy, did we light up the text messages on that one. Sherronna Bishop, America's mom, who was with Tina Peters through all of this stuff, and Bill went back and forth. Wow.
No, we didn't. She made speeches and tried to run over the top of things and didn't want to have a discussion. She wants to have an actual debate? Fine. What she was doing was crap. And that was an embarrassment. That was an absolute embarrassment.
I enjoyed it. I liked watching you.
Sure, there were lots of people.
That was specimentable, as they like to say.
I appreciate the intellectual conversation and the intellectual disagreements, and reasonable people can disagree. That wasn't reasonable. There wasn't anything about that was reasonable.
You know, we've had debates about Tina Peters. What Sherronna brought into that was a lot of comments about Dominion, and I think it's really important to point out we're 5 years past all that at this point. No court has found that Dominion did anything wrong. Even in a civil lawsuit hasn't found anything wrong.
And we've got to put a point on the fact that nobody's wandered into court with any proof. No one's been able to bring into court any proof of this going on. People have made allegations, and when they've been looked into under the rules of evidence, they've failed every single time. Every single time. Not even Fox News argued they were telling the truth about this pile of horse feathers that Sherronna was talking about. Ridiculous.
Right. Well, what did you think? You're welcome to join the conversation. Phone lines are open, 303-696-1971, or text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line, because I think we have driven a lot of conversation on the text line.
Yes, we have.
720-819-5115. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show in the 8 o'clock hour. John Fabbricatore is going to join us. We're going to dissect what happened yesterday in the House Oversight Committee hearing meeting where Mayor Mikey Johnston was publicly spanked. Not actually. That would have made for some interesting. But figuratively, the Republicans going after him, the Democrats on the other side wanting to scalp Mayor Eric Adams to send a very clear message to any other mayor out there that if you cooperate with federal immigration officials, the Democrats will make you pay, especially if you're a Democrat. That was about sending a message. You could clearly see it. AOC was just really going after him. So we're going to dissect that. Plus, J-Fab was testifying himself before Congress the same day as the State of the Union. It was a wild few days in D.C. He was there. I was there. We're going to break this all down for you, so you're not going to want to miss that. Bill, you feeling good? You good?
Yeah, just disappointed. I mean, I thought she wanted to come on and have a debate. Instead, it was just oral vomiting. I mean, just wasted time. I mean, she wants to have a conversation about it and go back and forth and give points, but she just wanted to come on and give speeches. I mean, she started out asking me questions.
Dude, you are the center of the Tina Peters world right now.
I know. And
they all text me. They're like, can I get my shot at Bill? Can I get my shot at Bill? Can I get my shot at Bill?
They act as if I haven't been doing this for 5 years. They act as if
all about you, man.
After the election started that I didn't ask the question if, could, how, and then work forward, rather than starting at a conclusion and working backwards. It's not how it works. Not how it works. Yeah.
Infamous Bill Thorpe. You were infamous at CPAC, too.
Oh, boy. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing.
Let's have a congressional committee hearing with you. That would be a lot of fun.
That would be fun.
All right. We've got a lot to continue to cover. You're not going to want to miss it. J-Fab is up. John Fabbricatore, you're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is about to get good. Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
It is 8 a.m. in the Mile High City on this Thursday, March 6, 2025. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. You've tuned into the Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710 KNUS. I'm your co-host, Jeff Hunt, along with Bill Thorpe, bringing you the freshest insights, hottest takes from the right, left, and center. Congratulations. You just woke up in the greatest country in history. Donald Trump's your president. We're off and running. You're a doer. You're out there making it happen. You're going to work. You're raising your kids. You're building a family. You're investing in your community. Thank God for people like you making America great again. We're going to bring you an entire hour of conversations, analysis, but most importantly, your phone calls and texts, because this right here is where Denver's voice is heard loud and clear. So grab a cup of coffee, Denver. Let's dive into the issues that matter most to you right here, right now. Coming up after news and comment with Blake Olson, we're going to have him in studio. He's live here, J-Fab. He's almost cool enough to just go by one name, Fab. I think he could go like Cher, Fab. We could do that. But J-Fab is what we call him around the studios. He's legendary. John Fabbricatore. I'm thrilled. I am thrilled that Heritage Foundation has picked this guy up, because he is a force out there. Congress has seen him. The dude's testifying before Congress. He's driving that MAGA agenda forward. Very excited to have him in studio. We're going to talk about his testimony before Congress, and then we're going to dive into what happened at yesterday's legendary Oversight Committee hearing. 60 members of Congress asking questions. 60. It lasted 6 hours. And you had all 4 Republican members of Congress from Colorado asking questions as well. Jeff Crank, Gabe Evans, Lauren Boebert, Jeff Hurd, all there in force, challenging Mayor Mikey Johnston. Dude's got some explaining to do. And even Anna Paulina Luna saying she is going to refer Mike Johnston for criminal prosecution to Attorney General Pam Bondi. Wow, it's getting hot. So we're going to cover that more. You're not going to want to miss this conversation. Now it's time to check in with Blake Olson.
Blake Olson. Blake Olson, news and comment.
All right, thanks a lot, Jeff and Billy. 36 and cloudy in Denver, expecting a high of 54 today. The 7-10 5-day forecast coming up. Our top story.
We have laws that are already on the books. We already have them. And we have state laws that contradict our immigration laws. And we have a Denver mayor who has not called to repeal those state laws.
Lauren Boebert On with Jeff and Billy this morning. She hooked Jeff up with the best seat in the House. On Wednesday, a congressional committee threatening further action against Denver Mayor Mike Johnston following the hearing in D.C. Johnston joined 3 other lefty mayors to testify before the House Oversight and Government Affairs Committee Wednesday. The mayor playing games with Representative Scott Perry of Pennsylvania.
We do not shield people from federal.
I just asked you what. So you don't consider yourself a sanctuary city?
We provide services and supports.
Do you consider yourself a sanctuary city? That's just.
We do not under that definition.
You don't use the definition. You're not a sanctuary.
We call ourselves a welcoming city.
Okay, so what are you welcoming and who are you not welcoming?
Well, we're welcoming everybody.
Okay.
We don't keep folks.
So you're welcoming criminals that you don't have any idea what their crime background is, and you're good with that?
No, we aggressively pursue.
How do you do that? No. How do you vet the people that you welcome in your sanctuary city?
Sir, we don't vet folks that arrive from Illinois or California with a background check when they.
That's because they're American citizens. Representative Anna Paulina Luna.
To me, after this line of questioning, it's very clear that these policies that you have all implicated are active and alive and well in your cities, are in direct violation with U.S. Title 8 Code subsection 1324, and it is a federal offense. But you all speak about a broken immigration system, and yet here you guys are aiding and abetting in that entire process. I want to be very clear about something. Open border policies, which is something that you guys are talking about, hurts people on both sides, meaning the people that are coming here illegally and then American citizens as well. I do not think you guys are bad people, but I think that you are ideologically misled, which is why, unfortunately, based on your responses, I'm all going to be criminally referring you to the Department of Justice for investigation.
Yes. America's mom, Sherronna Bishop, on with the fellas this morning, last hour, to talk Tina Peters again, who's in jail for 9 years.
John Eastman, Sidney Powell, Mike Lindell, Patrick Navarro, Steve Bannon, President Trump, anyone who decides to question the elections ends up in massive court. And literally, if Tina Peters had not had exposure, had not had a platform a little bit, at the very least, of what we were able to provide for her, if she hadn't had that, her legal fees have been well over $2 million to fight a company that's in 26 states that has a very unhealthy relationship with elected officials, with Secretary of States, and incredible partnerships with judges, federal judges across the country as well. You know, Bill, that you can't open those machines now. And the supposed things that Tina Peters did, the forensic image, that was not against the law.
Yes,
it was not against.
Bill disagrees, and the DOJ is looking into the case in Peters' sentence, but a great debate once again on the Jeff and Bill Show. DJT warning Hamas that it must release hostages held in Gaza, or, in his words, quote, "It's over for you." It comes as the White House confirmed the U.S. has been holding direct talks with Hamas. The Secretary of Veterans Affairs is confirming mass layoffs in the department. The VA plans to fire 15% of its workforce, about 70,000 employees. 47 is reportedly planning to sign an executive order that effectively shuts down the Department of Education. The draft order, seen by the Wall Street Journal, will direct Education Secretary Linda McMahon to take all steps permitted by law to facilitate the department's closure. You know what? Since Sherronna was on earlier in the show, I have to do this. I have to play one of the best guitar licks ever. My Sherronna. 13-year-old DJ Daniel hanging out at the White House. He's had 13 brain surgeries, and the country loves him.
Please stop being mean to President Trump, because if I see you being mean to him, I'm coming after you.
I love that. I think you need to become the director of the Secret Service. DJ, it is such an honor to have met you.
Hold up, I got one more thing to say.
He has one more thing to say. I won't interrupt you.
If you're a Democrat and you're being mean to President Trump, I'm on your bumper. I ain't gonna lie, I'm kind of acting like Miss Candace Matthews from Houston, Texas.
That's amazing. Do you have anything else that you want to say? You should just take my job at this point.
May bless America.
Would you ever run for president?
I'm not sure. I'm a little bit too young well, really and truly, I'm not young. I'm a 50-year-old trapped in a 50-year-old body. I might look 13, but I'm 50.
Boy, that is the truth. Nuggets beat the Kings 116-110, 32 in Westminster. It's 33 in Littleton, 36 in Denver. Jeff and Billy continue.
We are so far away from where the conversation started.
Okay.
So when you want to have a conversation about it, let me know. If you just want to have speeches, Sherronna, go right ahead.
We have another system approaching, thickening and increasing clouds, highs 50s, chance of rain and snow showers developing Thursday afternoon and evening. Thursday night, a chance of snow showers, lower 30s, and we could see some areas of light snow, colder, highs only in the 30s Friday, then another stretch of high pressure for the weekend. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center. Pretty good looking Wednesday for Denver in the Front Range. We're in between storm systems. We'll make the 50s today, sunny to partly sunny and not nearly as windy. Lows tonight near 30 with increasing clouds. Tomorrow, we have another system approaching, thickening and increasing clouds, highs 50s, chance of rain and snow showers developing Thursday afternoon and evening. Thursday night, a chance of snow showers,
I think we got the best show
30s,
in all of
and we
Colorado.
could see some areas
Nobody's
of light
having
snow,
these
colder,
debates.
highs
No
only
one's
in the
bringing
30s
in the
Friday,
quality of guests
then
that
another
we are. It is awesome. Thank you for tuning into the Jeff and Bill Show. This hour, we got with us John Fabbricatore, visiting fellow with the Heritage Foundation's Border Security and Immigration Center. I'm so glad Heritage picked him up, and they're using him well, man. He's like this blowtorch when we walk into Congress when it comes to immigration issues. J Fab, thanks so much for joining the Jeff and Bill Show, brother.
Hey, I'm really happy to be back here, guys. Good to see both of you.
And you were in D.C. for your own testimonies. Let's talk about that first, then we'll get to what happened yesterday in the House Oversight Committee. Tell us about what you were doing there.
Yeah, so it was also for the House Oversight Committee. Congresswoman Mesa reached out to me and asked me to testify about leveraging technology on the border and in the interior of the U.S. for immigration. So I got to testify on the types of technology that we're using, the types of technology I would like to see us use more so that our deportation process and immigration enforcement process is improved in the United States. And I think it was a good hearing, but it wasn't as sexy as the hearing that happened yesterday. So, kind of put over to the side a little bit.
Did the Democrats ask any questions, dive into stuff with you?
So this is my third time testifying before Congress, and I've had one Democrat ask me a question the whole time. Out of hours and hours of testimony, one Democrat has chosen to go head-to-head with me because they know if they come at John Fabbricatore, I'm going to bring it back at them. So they avoid me like the plague.
Well, let's talk about what happened yesterday. So I'll lay the groundwork. You had four mayors, the mayor of Boston, the mayor of Chicago, the mayor of Denver, and the mayor of New York, all at one point Democrats. Mayor Eric Adams is he's still a Democrat, but you may switch over. We'll have to see. But all Democrats, all mayors of sanctuary cities, all called to testify. Now, the House Oversight Committee is run by Republicans. James Comer's the chairman of it. It's got folks like Lauren Boebert on it. But 60 members of Congress came up to explore and essentially debate, and for the whole country to see, sanctuary cities. Now, Democrats would say that we're not sanctuary cities. We're not breaking any federal law. We're just serving people that come here. And we don't ask if someone's from Iowa, are you from Iowa or Chicago or California? No, you can just come into the city. And if you need some services, the good people of Denver will provide those services for you. That's what Mayor Mike Johnston argued. Now, I want to play some clips when I get your responses. Let's start. Sure. This is Lauren Boebert talking about Mayor Mike Johnston putting restrictions, or the city, and I think Kory Nelson affirmed this, but putting actual ordinances into place where employees cannot coordinate with ICE. Here's Lauren Boebert yesterday.
In 2017, Denver passed an ordinance that ensured any city employee who spoke with federal immigration authorities would be fired, among other policies that have led to local and national media outlets to call Denver a sanctuary city. So now let me ask you, would a city employee be fired for communicating with anyone from the EPA?
Right now, Congresswoman, our policy is we don't ask people's status.
Would any city employee be fired for communicating and coordinating, talking with an agent from the EPA, a federal employee?
Not to my knowledge, Congresswoman.
What about Health and Human Services? Would they get fired for talking with someone from Health and Human Services?
Not to my knowledge, Congresswoman.
So they would only be fired for talking to federal law enforcement officers?
No, that's incorrect, Congresswoman.
This is an ordinance
city employees do,
Denver
in fact,
passed in 2017, Mr. Mayor.
our city employees do, in fact, communicate with ICE. We do coordinate on multiple things with ICE. For instance, if there is a violent criminal warrant in the city, we pursue that
we're talking
together.
before the warrants, Mr. Mayor. There are issues happening before warrants are issued, and local law enforcement officers are unable to coordinate because there is no warrant. And your ordinance says that a city employee would be fired for communicating with federal law enforcement. So you've been mayor for 600 days. Have you ever called for that ordinance to be repealed?
We are not unable to coordinate with ICE right now. We are in communication with ICE right now.
Only if there is a warrant, but I'm talking prior to the warrant.
We wouldn't have a reason to coordinate.
Because you don't know if they're illegal, because you are unable to coordinate until there is a warrant. So that's why this ordinance needs to be repealed.
So John Fabbricatore in studio here. John, why is it important for law enforcement to be able to coordinate prior to a warrant?
Because waiting for illegal aliens to commit crimes and have a felony that a warrant gets adjudicated on. First off, why are we waiting for that? So Congresswoman Boebert is exactly right. Law enforcement needs to be able to speak with each other before crimes happen so that intelligence can be developed, so that we know that there are these drug traffickers in the community, there are these gang members in the community. We should be removing them, ICE should be removing them prior to them killing a United States citizen, hurting a United States citizen, selling fentanyl to a United States citizen. We need to be able to set up this process to be able to protect United States citizens better than what Denver is doing right now.
I think the mayor would push back and go, well, are we then asking people for their identifications? How would you know if they're illegal if we want to get them out? He wants to, from his perspective, you know, if you're just here and we're providing a service, that's not necessarily enough for him to want to get you out of the country and deport you. He wants to only deport you if you commit a crime, for instance.
And that's the wrong thing. Why are we waiting for that to happen? Why are we waiting for somebody who's illegally present in the United States to commit a crime before we say, oh, no, now we want to get rid of you? No, look, you already broke the law when you entered the United States. You're already here counter to immigration law. So you know, I heard it a lot during this hearing. These law-abiding illegal, they kept saying it, law-abiding illegal immigrants. No, that's you can't have those two things. You're not law-abiding if you entered the country illegally. What does illegally mean? Yeah. You didn't follow the law, right? So this is the point that we're at. And look, we're not asking every single person that's walking down the street or that's in a restaurant, you know, hey, you know, what's your status? No, we're encountering them when law enforcement actually encounters them for something that they've been called about. So either they've been called to the scene of a crime or they've arrested somebody for something, whether it's a misdemeanor or a felony. And now we're trying to determine what your country of origin is. And that's the question that they're asking, which then gives ICE probable cause to then look into it a little further.
John Fabbricatore, he's now a visiting scholar. I'm going to use that word, scholar, with the Heritage Foundation's Border Security and Immigration Center, regularly called to Washington, D.C., as under the Trump administration, they make enforcing the border one of their top priorities. All right, so I'm not going to play all of this, but Jim Jordan,
he's
5 minutes, from my perspective, wrecking Mike Johnston's career, because Mike had no good answer for this. His answers were terrible. He wasn't prepared for it. And what it goes to show is, you know, only if a cop's only bit a little bit, that's okay. But I don't want to really change anything to actually make the lives of police officers any safer. That's what came across to me. This was an incredible exchange between Jim Jordan of Ohio and Mike Johnston, the mayor of Denver.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mayor Johnston, who's Abraham Gonzalez?
Thank you, Congressman. He is individual that was released from the county jail on Friday in the city and county of Denver.
That's all you know about him?
I do know that he was facing charges that the
Venezuelan gang member arrested by Border Patrol on September 20th, 2023, released into the country by the Biden administration. A few months later, he's arrested in your city, charged with aggravated assault. On March 11th, 2024, he's charged with motor vehicle theft, stole a car, and then on March 20th, 2024, Mr. Gonzalez is charged with felony menacing. 6 days after that last charge, ICE sends you a detainer, which includes an administrative warrant. Basically, it says if you're going to release this bad guy, this gang member who allegedly stole a car, menaced people, and assaulted people, give us a 48-hour heads up. Is that right? That refresh your memory?
I do know about the detainer request. I do know that we provided a notification of release.
What kind of notice did you give ICE when you released him?
We gave him notification. I'm not sure how long in advance it was. I do know that.
1 hour.
I do know that there
was
was
1 hour notice, and you released him 5 days ago, right? Why not give him more heads up? Actually, let's put the slide up. Let's see what it says here. But let's put the slide up. This is what the Denver Sheriff's Department, it's kind of hard to see, so I'll read it. It says, Denver Sheriff Department, ICE notification being released to the streets. I simply said, just release him to us. You release him to the streets. Why not release him to ICE?
Thank you. What we've done, and we do this regularly, we've done 1,226 of these, is we notify
I'm asking about one. I'm not asking about the 1,200. I'm asking about Mr. Abraham Gonzalez, who's a gang member from Venezuela, stole a car, assaulted someone. You had him in your custody for how long?
I know that we released him.
345 days you had him in custody. And I said, hey, can you give us 48 hours heads up?
I don't know.
You gave him 1 hour notice.
Mr. Congressman, we notified them of release. There were 6 ICE agents present when he was released, so they had enough time to respond and to be present.
Respond where?
To the jail where we released him from. So we released him we notified them of the release time. When we notify them of release, they come to the jail facility to pick them up.
Why didn't you say that's not what you said. You said you release him to the streets. Did you release him to the streets? You release him to ICE?
What we do, sir, is we release him from our county jail, and we coordinate with ICE on that release time and release date so that ICE can come and pick them up from that location.
Pick them up where? In the parking lot?
Yes, sir. They're on the facility
property. Guess what happened in the parking lot?
I know, sir. I've reviewed the video. So I looked at it. I've talked to the sheriff last night.
One of the ICE officers got assaulted, didn't he?
I've reviewed the video,
They had
sir.
to tase the guy, didn't they?
Would you like me to answer, sir?
No, I'd like you to answer. Did they tase him?
I know that there were 6 officers that had multiple tasers. I saw the
So they had
on
6
video.
officers. If you keep him in the facility and they come in the facility and get him, does it take 6 officers? Probably takes 2, doesn't it?
So we've been doing these, as I mentioned, 1,226 times. This is the first time I've been made aware of there's been an incident like this. So I reached out to ICE after I saw the video. I've coordinated with their team and offered to sit down and see if there are procedures we can change
It's a simple
to make sure
question.
this works smoothly.
It's a simple question. You can release him in the parking lot, give ICE 1 hour notice, and they got to send 6 officers to arrest this guy. Or you can say, hey, here's what we're going to do. We're going to hold him. You come in and bring 2 officers in, and you turn him over there. Why not do it that way?
We have a city ordinance.
You know why you don't do it that way?
We have a city ordinance that governs.
Because you're a sanctuary city. This is the whole.
That is the whole point. What did you think of that exchange, John Fabbricatore?
It's number one, it's ridiculous. We've had multiple assaults on officers where they've released illegal aliens from that jail. So he's lying right there. There's video that you can pull up right now online if you go in, and you can see 2 deportation officers fighting with an alien inside the doorway of that facility because the alien tried to run back inside. And you look and watch Denver sheriffs watch as ICE officers are struggling to put someone under custody. When I was the field office director of this office, there were multiple times where my officers and agents got into physical fights on the street outside that facility because they let these guys outside the jail where their family members are waiting. We've encountered family members in that parking lot that were told before ICE was told that this person was being released. And that's why we bring so many people on scene. We need 6 officers because we don't know who else is going to be in that parking lot. And we know local law enforcement will not help ICE if they get into a fight and try to apprehend somebody.
They're setting up these ICE agents for an ambush.
They are. Absolutely, they are. This is not safe. This arrest should have occurred inside the facility, away from public eyes. Again, totally 100% correct that if this would have happened inside the facility, it would have taken 1 or 2 officers, not 6. Now you've tied up 6 officers to go arrest 1 person. We don't have an unlimited supply of ICE agents in this state.
Right.
We have a very finite number. And that's why when Denver gives 1 hour notice, okay, our ICE office is down in Centennial off of Arapahoe Road. And good traffic, it takes about 30, 40 minutes to get from the ICE office over to where they release these people in Denver. Bad traffic, you're getting there maybe on time, right? So, and if we have snow, if we have all these other things, this is why we ask for a little bit more time. Let us coordinate it so we can have the right amount of officers there, have everything coordinated, know what we're going to do. But Denver does this on purpose because they're trying to release illegal criminal aliens back out onto the street.
Wow. John Fabbricatore is a visiting fellow with the Heritage Foundation's Border Security and Immigration Center, joining us live in studio. The point in that case, Jim Jordan going, this is what sanctuary city policies do.
Absolutely.
Right? This doesn't happen by accident. This is the result of a deliberate and malicious effort, from my perspective, to release illegal immigrants, criminal illegal immigrants, back into our communities, and the good men and women of ICE are scrambling to try to pick that bad dude up before he goes and harms somebody else. And they're dropping him off with family members, friends. You don't know who's armed. You don't know who's not. And if they're motivated to try to get him away, you could have a very serious incident.
You definitely could. Look, that's not a secured parking lot right there. The whole public, and look, you're putting this alien out onto the street where the public is. So now ICE is chasing this person. We've had foot chases down Colfax, running through traffic, trying to arrest illegal aliens. This is all on record. If the mayor wants to see this, if he's not aware about it, that's on him. It happens a lot. That's why we send multiples of officers down there, because we know we're going to get into an altercation out of that building.
Wow. John Fabbricatore joining us live here. All right, so do you think anything's going to come of this heat that's coming out there? Let's talk maybe first about the criminal prosecution. This is Anna Paulina Luna. This is an interview I had with her right after the hearing, or actually right in the middle of the hearing. I caught her in the hallway. So this is an exclusive.
But the laws of the land are pretty clear. We don't want illegal immigration. And also, too, it's important to note that even if you are sympathetic to people that are illegal immigrants, when you are doing what they are doing, they're actually responsible for hurting people on both sides. I want to point out something specific to Chicago. Illegal immigration is actually increasing tensions within the gang communities, and there's a ton of race wars that no one talks about between the Black and Hispanic gangs in Chicago. And so this is something that everyone should be talking about. I understand having a humanitarian perspective, but I'd like to also remind my Democrat colleagues and Democrats even watching this today that even Barack Obama had the positions that we hold on illegal immigration.
Which specific law? You mentioned Title 8. So what laws do you believe the mayor specifically are?
Well, each person had a different law that they were breaking, and I outlined all of that. And so you'll have to look at the testimony when I entered into the record.
DOJ is already investigating Chicago and Mayor Johnston. Is this going to be...
This is a criminal referral specifically to what I think that they're breaking, and they will have to make that argument as to why they're innocent. We obviously believe innocent until proven guilty. I'm just presenting the evidence, and the DOJ can figure that out. Thank you.
Can I ask
of course. Yeah, of course.
Jeff Hunt with 710 KNUS with the Salem station in Denver. So, strong words for Mayor Mike Johnston in Denver, referring him for criminal prosecution for harboring illegal immigrants. Can I get some more thoughts on that?
Yeah, you saw that I specifically, I was not trying to be rude, but he very much so understands the definition of harboring. And I would also say that his perspective, his statement saying that he'd be willing to go to jail to avoid deporting illegals, that's simply un-American, and it's definitely undermining the federal government, especially with our statutes on illegal immigration. And so, look, if he wants to make that case to the Department of Justice, that's his right as an American citizen to do so. But I want to remind people that people on both sides of the border hurt due to illegal immigration. He's not helping people, not even the illegals. He's hurting them, and so he needs to change his positions and policies.
I agree with you, and we've interviewed and talked to residents at these Aurora complexes that have been harmed by these policies. Have you heard anything from the Trump administration, from Pam Bondi? Are they going to prosecute these mayors?
Yes, I will tell you that I talked to our border czar recently, and also I did just do the referral, so I have not gone back to my office even yet to be able to call the DOJ, but what I will tell you is I don't think that they're playing around. This is not the Biden administration. They will be following up on those criminal referrals, and I'd like to also remind people the reason why I asked them specific questions is because I wanted to see if they would be honest with me, and as you saw, they admitted that they're breaking the law.
I'll tell you, the people of Denver appreciate what you're doing. Thank
you very much. I appreciate it.
All right, John Fabbricatore live in studio here. Should Mike Johnston be criminally prosecuted for harboring illegal immigrants?
Yeah, so look, under 8 U.S.C. 1324, which is harboring, aiding, and or impeding ICE from being able to arrest an illegal alien, I believe he definitely fits into the harboring. He could fit into the aiding. He could even fit into the impeding federal law enforcement from being able to, do their job with immigration law. So let's do it. Let's put it in front of a U.S. attorney and see where it goes.
What's the penalty for doing something like that?
So it could be anywhere from fines up to a staunch 1 year to longer. If you look at the law, there's certain things that have to occur within the law in order for you to get the felony on that. Yeah. But I don't even think that it matters if he gets a felony. I think just bringing him in front of a U.S. attorney and seeing why they did what they did. Like we need to start taking this apart, especially with the number of NGOs involved and the amount of money that's been put in. Like, why were these things done? And sometimes the only way to really see how that happens is getting it into a court of law and taking it apart.
There might be some financial reasons to do this. I'm not dismissing that. But what you got yesterday from Mayor Mike Johnston and everybody else, and I think that this is probably true, that at their core, they believe they're doing something really good here. That these are people that are coming to this country looking for great opportunity. Yeah. And we're not talking about the rapists, the murderers. We're talking about those that are showing up in an effort to try to better their lives and better their families. And I try to put myself in this perspective because I try to be an empathetic person, right? If I'm stuck in Venezuela dealing with that regime and you get this glorious country to the north, maybe I don't agree with it, but I can kind of put myself in that position to go, I understand at least why they would do it. So I think their motivation, these mayors' motivation, from their perspective, they're just bleeding heart liberals with a savior complex.
But they want you to have that sympathy because they keep changing the vocabulary to confuse most people. So, they call it a welcoming city instead of a sanctuary city. They constantly say immigrants instead of what they are, illegal aliens. And here's the thing, and I know I've had this conversation with you. I know you are for immigration, just like I am. We are for legal immigration, for people coming to the United States to enjoy this absolutely outstanding country, but you have to do it legally because we need to vet you, we need to know who you are, and we want the right kind of people coming here. It doesn't matter what your race, your religion, your creed is. You just have to be able to come to America and give back to America. Stop taking and raping America.
Right. Well, and Michelle Wu, who's the Boston mayor, going, we don't even ask people any of their immigration. We have a safe city. It's a beautiful city. Everybody's welcome city. And it just seems to be, they're describing a city that doesn't actually exist. So, for instance, Mayor Mike Johnston yesterday going, crime's down in Colorado. We brought in all these illegal immigrants, and actually things are great. And I'm sitting there going, you're describing a city that doesn't actually exist.
No. And crime got so high that they can now say that it's crime is less, but it's still extremely high. And they've changed so many categories of crimes, and they've moved numbers around. It's so easy for them to say these things because they are good at manipulating statistics.
Well, JFab hanging out with us the entire hour. We're going to continue this conversation. Look, for many of us, it's happening. Your hair might be thinning. Your crown's disappearing. Maybe hair loss has you feeling your identity's lost altogether. Well, I've got good news for you. It's an incredible yet simple one-day treatment that starts growing your own natural hair the very next day, and it's guaranteed to grow for life. It's the Advanced FUE from Advanced Hair. Look, we've all seen the pills and lotions that come with monthly subscriptions. They help retain what you have, but what if what you want is your own natural hair permanently in specific areas? From Advanced Hair's state-of-the-art facilities to world-class Dr. Tanya Paul's, it's not maybe your hair will regrow. It's guaranteed that your new hair will grow. You decide how much, how thick, and where. It's why Advanced Hair is the winner of Westward's Best of Denver. For your free consultation, $250 off. He's absolutely one of my favorite guys, and he terrifies Jason Crow. He's in studio with us now. By the way, I went to this event that Jason Crow was doing the other day, and he saw. I positioned myself right up front because we were talking. He was doing this whole U.S. spending, USAID thing, and right afterwards, I go up to him, and someone cut in front of me, and then they were shaking his hand and talking to him, and then he sees me, and he goes, "Thanks, everybody," and walks out. Dude, he left the entire event because I was there. And the only other man he probably fears more than me is John Fabbricatore, and he's live in studio with us.
You know, he wouldn't debate me one time.
And their first obligation is to the American people, not foreigners.
I agree with you. I mean, that's got to be their commitment. But you see that with Mayor Mike Johnston, where they've literally spent $356 million on serving illegal immigrants, and that is now cut out of their budget. Kory Nelson was telling us this earlier. This has impacted all of the offices down in Denver. You know? They're specifically putting illegal immigrants ahead of American citizens.
Exactly. And we're the ones that pay the freight, and they don't understand why a lot of people are very angry in this country.
Now, Nick, I'll ask you a question. It was floated yesterday, and I think the groundwork was created to criminally prosecute mayors who are advancing sanctuary city ordinances. Would you agree? Do you believe that Mike Johnston should be criminally prosecuted? Go ahead.
Yes, because they have an obligation to the citizens who pay the freight who elected them.
That's right. Yeah, I appreciate it, Nick. Thanks so much for the call. Response, Fab?
No, he's 100% correct. You know, you see, again, it's the vocabulary changes. You know, they call them Colorado citizens, or, you know, Colorado, everyone's a Colorado resident. Well, when you're here illegally, it's costing us a lot of money in order to, you know, give you all these benefits that the American citizen should be getting.
Amen to that. Let's go to Pete, Denver. Good morning, Pete. You're on the Jeff and Bill Show.
Hi, Jeff. Thank you so much for doing what you've done. I searched all the networks yesterday, and I could only find the in-time live broadcast with you guys. I even went on C-SPAN, and they were, you know, they just do the House chambers, but they don't do the committee hearings. So you've provided a service that was unequaled throughout the media in the country. So way to go.
Pete, I got to interrupt you. Thank you so much. I just want to take a moment here to give the flowers to our video team as well, because they worked on some stuff behind the scenes to make sure that we were able to bring it on the air here and also through our video outlets, through YouTube, Rumble, stuff like that. They did some really weird things and came in early and had me click a lot of little boxes, because I'm not going to take credit for any of that, on making sure that you could get access and hear that live. So I just want to give a moment here, credit to our video team spending the extra time, effort to make sure that you got the information you needed. So we appreciate it. Thanks, Pete. Now continue.
Well, it was totally awesome. Now, I would like to ask the question that's an elephant in the room, because I totally support what you guys are doing and what the Trump administration is doing, and it's long overdue reckoning that's happening. But this is a question that industry-wise, business-wise, citizen-wise, citywide, all these entities are not addressing this question, which is, if we know people that we don't know whether or not they're American citizens, but we've known them for a long time, and they're totally embedded into the fabric of American society. And, you know, I mean, you can call any service agency in town, and, you know, the Mexican and the Hispanic and even the Croatian workers are prevalent in all businesses. But, you know, who's going to be so intrusive as saying, are you legal? You know, I mean, we don't live our lives that way. But the question is, if we know somebody who is living in this perilous time of the reckoning for immigration, what advice can we give people that we don't know their status, but we say, hey, if you're smart, you need to do this? What advice do we
Pete,
give
great question. John Fabbricatore.
Yeah, so, number one, you should never assume what somebody's status is. Immigration law is very robust. Even as much as I know about immigration law, I constantly refer to the law books because things, different laws are set up in different ways, especially with status. So with that being said, my thought on this is if you are illegally present, that means you illegally entered the country, did not go through a port of entry, cross the border illegally, you probably need to go home and make a legal entry. And our Secretary of Department of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, has talked about this, that it is time for people, if you know you're illegally present, to leave the country and then come back lawfully. For other people that entered under different statuses, there are status changes that they can make to make themselves lawful now in the United States. So if you at some point in time did make a lawful entry and now you're illegally present because of different changes, there are different things that can occur under the law, and you should see an immigration attorney to do that. But if you entered unlawfully, did not go through a port of entry, and have been hiding in the shadows, it's time for you to come out because we need to know who's in this country.
That's great, and that's very clarifying. So I guess the overriding message to my question is you need to get lawful.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep, that's great, Pete. Great call. Pete's line will be open 303-696-1971. That's 303-696-1971. I want to tell you about my friends Dan Kaplis and Dan Kaplis Law. I've known Dan for well over a decade. He's pro-life, pro-family, pro-faith, pro-America. He's the real deal. That matters because who you choose to represent you in an injury case says a lot about you to everyone involved in the case. Dan Kaplis, the son of a police officer and a former seminarian who's dedicated the last 40 years of his life to helping people who are hurt in serious motor vehicle crashes. He's a real winner in the courtroom. Listen to this. Dan is believed to be the only lawyer in Colorado history to win 5 straight multi-million-dollar verdicts in Colorado crash cases. Dan is also believed to have won the largest truck crash verdict in Colorado history. Dan Kaplis Law, so trusted that he's the official law firm partner of the Denver Nuggets and the Colorado Avalanche. Dan Kaplis Law is a serious firm for serious cases. He accepts righteous injury cases on a percentage fee basis so that he can represent good people from all walks of life without regard to ability to pay. So if you need Dan's help, give him a call. Here's the phone number, 303-770-5551. That's 303-770-5551, or hit dankaplislaw.com. That's Dan, CAPLISlaw.com. We'll continue with John Fabbricatore live in studio. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Bill, we're crushing it, man. Absolutely jam-packed phone lines. Do you want to try to get Frank in Denver in before we talk? Let's go. Frank, Denver. You're talking to Jeff, Bill, and John Fabbricatore live in studio. Good morning, Frank.
Yeah, Jeff, thanks so much for taking the time and effort to go back to Washington. That was pivotal committee meeting stuff, and don't mess with Anna Paulina Luna.
She is great, man. I've never actually met her in person, heard a lot about her, but she pushed it to another level.
Is she a lawyer?
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so.
Well, she knows her sections of the law, though. So I got a new definition for a Democrat. That's when ideology triumphs over common sense.
Yeah, that's been them for a long time. Dennis Prager used to say if they thought critically and logically, they'd be conservatives. But they're not. They don't, so they find their way into progressive la-la land. I mean, the world they describe just doesn't exist yesterday during that committee hearing.
And J. Fab, thank you so much for all you do. I got an idea for you to take back to the Heritage Foundation. With this dodging of Crow from trying to dodge you all the time, I think there needs to be some effort to make legislation putting forth while we got the next 2 years in the House to mandate dialogues or debates between all congressional candidates out in the open, carried by both all media, so that the Democrats can't duck the media and duck into their media and not
no more running and hiding anymore, Jason Crow.
I'd be open for
all
it.
right.
Good
Appreciate
suggestion.
it, Frank. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is News Talk 710 KNUS.
It is 9 a.m. in the Mile High City on this Thursday, March 6, 2025. You've tuned in to the Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710 KNUS. I'm your co-host, Jeff Hunt, along with Bill Thorpe, bringing you the freshest insights and hottest takes from the right, left, and center. And joining us live in studio is a guy I have such tremendous respect for, and I have so much fun hanging out with him. He's one of those guys that you could absolutely go grab a beer with and just have a great conversation. That's why I think he'd be great in elected office. And at some point when Jason Crow's done, we might get him to Congress. He challenged Jason Crow during the last election, and Jason wouldn't even debate him. Ran away. He was so intimidated by John Fabbricatore. And in many ways, I think it's worked out great because now you're at the Heritage Foundation. You're a national voice on immigration and border security. I mean, Fox News, this conference, that conference, testifying before Congress. And Jason Crow's dealing with constituent work right now. And you're unleashed to go out there and make an impact for the Trump administration. Man, this is really cool to see.
Yeah, I'm really thankful to the Heritage Foundation, number one, for giving me a shot. So I took Tom Homan's old position at Heritage. And it has allowed me to kind of have a voice on that, and just having the Heritage Foundation there to back me up, and have everything that they have behind me. It is a great
the
opportunity
world's
for me.
biggest, most influential conservative think tank.
Yeah, I'm happy to be.
Has empowered you to be the top guy on immigration and border security.
It's a great feeling,
dude. It's awesome.
Thank
and
you.
For those of us that care about this issue, it's like they put you in the prime position.
Thank you.
To go out there and make an impact. And he's hanging out with us this morning. So if you want, give us a call. We got one open phone line, 303-696-1971. We're going to get to Mike and Joe here in just a second. But now it's time for Blake Olson.
Blake Olson. Blake Olson, news and comment.
Thanks a lot, Jeff and Billy and John. 39 and mostly cloudy in Denver, expecting a high of 54 today. The 7-10 5-day forecast is coming up. Our top story.
Congresswoman Boebert is exactly right. Law enforcement needs to be able to speak with each other before crimes happen so that intelligence can be developed, so that we know that there are these drug traffickers in the community, there are these gang members in the community. We should be removing them, ICE should be removing them prior to them killing a United States.
John Fabbricatore, the Heritage Foundation Border Security and Immigration Center, on with Jeff and Billy right now, last hour, and it will continue talking about the sanctuary cities hearing on Wednesday, a congressional committee threatening further action against Denver Mayor Mike Johnston. He joined three other lefty mayors to testify before the House Oversight and Government Affairs Committee on Wednesday. The mayor thinks he's slick, answering Representative Scott Perry.
We do not shield people from federal.
I just asked you what. So you don't consider yourself a sanctuary city?
We provide services and supports.
Do you consider yourself a sanctuary city? That's
we do not under that definition.
You don't use the definition. You're not a sanctuary.
We call ourselves a welcoming city.
Okay, so what are you welcoming, and who are you not welcoming?
Well, we're welcoming everybody.
Okay.
We don't keep folks.
So you're welcoming criminals that you don't have any idea what their crime background is, and you're good with that?
No, we aggressively pursue.
How do you do that? No. How do you vet the people that you welcome in your sanctuary city?
Sir, we don't vet folks that arrive from Illinois or California with a background.
And Lauren Boebert also joined the show this morning.
We have laws that are already on the books. We already have them. And we have state laws that contradict our immigration laws. And we have a Denver mayor who has not called to repeal those state laws, and he has not even asked his city council for a vote to repeal an ordinance in his city that prohibits ICE from working with local law enforcement.
And Representative Anna Paulina Luna.
Open border policies, which is something that you guys are talking about, hurts people on both sides, meaning the people that are coming here illegally and then American citizens as well. I do not think you guys are bad people, but I think that you are ideologically misled, which is why, unfortunately, based on your responses, I'm all going to be criminally referring you to the Department of Justice for investigation. And as soon as I leave here, these will be going over to Pam Bondi.
Let's go. America's Mom, Sherronna Bishop, on this morning to talk Tina Peters, who's in jail for 9 years.
John Eastman, Sidney Powell, Mike Lindell, Patrick Navarro, Steve Bannon, President Trump, anyone who decides to question the elections ends up in massive court. And literally, if Tina Peters had not had exposure, had not had a platform a little bit, at the very least, of what we were able to provide for her, if she hadn't had that, her legal fees have been well over $2 million to fight a company that's in 26 states that has a very unhealthy relationship with elected officials, with Secretary of States, and incredible partnerships with judges, federal judges across the country as well. You know, Bill, that you can't open those machines now. And the supposed things that Tina Peters did, the forensic image, that was not against the law.
Yes,
it was not against.
Bill disagrees, but the DOJ is looking into the case and Peters' sentence. Stocks have recovered a bit on Wall Street after opening lower. President Trump is reportedly working to shut down the Department of Education. A draft executive order seen by the Wall Street Journal will direct Education Secretary Linda McMahon to take all steps permitted by law to facilitate the department's closure. Trump is reportedly planning to sign it as soon as today. DJT is warning Hamas that it must release hostages held in Gaza. In a post, Trump addressed the people of Gaza, saying, there's a beautiful future that awaits you, but if you hold hostages, you are dead. The House is expected to hold a vote soon on whether to censure the cane-waving Al Green, who interrupted the joint address to Congress.
How can a loser...
along party lines to defeat a motion by Democrats to table the censure resolution. 13-year-old DJ Daniel at the White House Wednesday. 13 brain surgeries, and he keeps on kicking. He wants to be a police officer. He kind of is right now, and the country loves him.
He has one more thing to say. I won't interrupt you.
If you're a Democrat and you're being mean to President Trump, I'm on your bumper. I ain't gonna lie, I'm kind of acting like Miss Candace Matthews from Houston, Texas.
That's amazing. Do you have anything else that you want to say? You should just take my job at this point.
May bless America.
Would you ever run for president?
I'm not sure. I'm a little bit too young. Well, really and truly, I'm not young. I'm a 13. I'm a 50-year-old trapped in a 50-year-old body. I might look 13, but I'm 50.
Open the mic and let him talk. Nuggets.
That guy's going to end up with his own talk show.
He is. There's no doubt, man. They got to put him in the right situation and just let him talk, man. Nuggets beat the Kings 116-110. 35 in Superior, 38 in Sheridan, 39 in Denver. Jeff and Billy continue.
He has one more thing to say. I won't interrupt you.
If you're a Democrat and you're being mean to President Trump, I'm on your bumper.
Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
High pressure for the weekend. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center. Pretty good looking Wednesday for Denver in the Front Range. We're in between storm systems. We'll make the 50s today. Sunny to partly sunny and not nearly as windy. Lows tonight near 30 with increasing clouds. Tomorrow, we have another system approaching, thickening and increasing clouds, highs 50s. Chance of rain and snow showers developing Thursday afternoon and evening. Thursday night, a chance of snow showers, lower 30s, and we could see some areas of light snow, colder, highs only in the 30s Friday. Then another stretch of high pressure for the weekend. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center. Pretty good looking Wednesday for
Welcome
Denver
back to the Jeff and Bill Show. This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710 KNUS. In just a moment, we will get back to John Fabbricatore live in the studio. Going to be taking your calls, discussing the shellacking that our Denver mayor took yesterday from a number of Congress people and the indefensible actions that he talked about. John was great at outlining for you some of the mistakes that our Denver mayor made. As we talked to Lauren Boebert earlier, not sure that Mike got the $2 million worth of the legal help. I'm not sure about that. But I want to talk to you about a group that is going to be able to give you help. Here's the deal. Now, a small cut, a diabetic ulcer, a pressure sore, given everything else you're dealing with in your life, seems like it's not a big deal. Seems like you can just let it go and it'll heal eventually. We know how healing takes longer as you get older, but unfortunately, that slow healing cut, that pressure sore, that diabetic ulcer can be a little thing that leads to a very big thing. That's why Jennifer Walker created Wound Care Associates of Colorado. This is personal to both her and myself. We both have stories in our lives. With Jennifer, it's about her uncle who had diabetes, neuropathy, some comorbidities, and then developed a small cut on his toe. With everything else going on in his life, that's not a big deal, is it? Well, it turned into a very big deal. He ignored the problem, didn't fix the problem, and by the time he sought medical help, it had led to an infection. Because of the level of infection, they took part of his foot, but the infection had spread too far, was already deep into his bloodstream and his organs. He passed away several days later. Not from any of the comorbidities, but because of the small cut that he didn't get treated in time. So don't mess around. Contact Wound Care Associates of Colorado at coloradowound.com today. coloradowound.com if anybody in your life is dealing with a diabetic ulcer, pressure sore, or slow healing cut, because that torn skin and tissue is the perfect avenue for dirt, germs, and bacteria to get access to your body. That's what it's trying to do. Don't let it happen. And Wound Care Associates of Colorado is changing the game two ways. First, they're going old school. We're talking concierge service. The doctor coming to your house. Yeah. That's how Wound Care Associates of Colorado rolls. Their certified wound care practitioner nurse comes to your house at your convenience and sets up a private personal treatment plan centered on you getting better and healing the cut. That's a difference maker. There isn't another wound care facility that does that, nor are they focused on making sure that cut heals. Too many of these facilities just want to maintain the cut. Keep it clean and let's hope it doesn't get any worse. Come on. You go to the doctor and you got something and they're going to go, let's just hope it doesn't get any worse. Excuse me, doc, can I have my money back? I mean, that's the first thing you should be asking. Same thing. Don't go with one of those other locations. Wound Care Associates of Colorado, it's the comfort, convenience, privacy of the treatment that you need, all personalized to what you need to have happen to your body, and they're going to promote better healing, not maintenance, healing. That's the difference. They'll assess your wound, and they'll develop that treatment, but you got to reach out to them first. coloradowound.com, coloradowound.com. Anybody in your family is dealing with the slow healing cut, the pressure sores, the diabetic ulcers. Don't mess around. What can be a little deal can turn into a very big deal. And ignoring the problem doesn't fix the problem. Fix it. coloradowound.com. coloradowound.com, and we reach out to them. Tell them you heard about them here on the Jeff and Bill Show because it helps us out. Now, back to my partner, Jeff Hunt. It's all yours.
It's great to hear, Bill. All right, we got JFab live in studio. He's the visiting fellow with the Heritage Foundation's Border Security and Immigration Center. We're talking all things the smackdown that took place. It's like WWE, Republicans, Democrats, 4 mayors there, all vying for their future careers. Mikey Johnston spending $2 million in legal fees just to be able to defend himself.
We'll never get that money back.
Right. On top of the $356 million he's already spent on illegal immigrants the last few years. Here's Jeff Crank yesterday. I want to get your thoughts, JFab.
This policy and the danger that it creates is wholly a result of your policy as the city and county of Denver. Just last week, it resulted in an illegal Tren de Aragua member assaulting and biting an ICE agent because he was uncuffed and he was released by Denver to a parking lot. Now, you're putting police officers who you're sworn to help protect as their mayor at risk to score political points. And I think it's outrageous. It's unbecoming to your office, and it's a danger to the people of Colorado and the citizens of Denver. Now, we have this case, and I know you've talked about it today. Abraham Gonzalez, suspected TDA gang member, released from Denver County Jail, as I mentioned, due to Colorado's sanctuary policies. This is a post by ICE. Was forced to arrest him in public. ICE was forced to arrest him in public where he assaulted officers, sanctuary policies, endanger communities, and law enforcement. That's their post. I'd ask that this be entered into the record, Mr. Chairman.
Objection, so ordered.
Mr. Mayor, yes or no? Would you feel safe if you were alone in a parking lot with a Trinidad Aragua gang member?
We did not put a situation where someone
Just yes or no? Would you feel safe if you were in a parking lot alone with the Trinidad Aragua member, like you make your police officers do, or like you make an ICE agent do? Yes or no?
There were 6 ICE agents on the scene.
Could you answer my question? Would you feel safe
without any weapons?
Would you feel safe? Reclaiming my time. Thank you. Would Coloradans reclaiming my time, Mr. Mayor? You're not going to answer that.
That gives you a sense of how feisty it got. That's Congressman Jeff Crank representing the Colorado Springs area. I'm watching this video right now, JFab, of that release, and it's almost absurd to see and have to watch these ICE agents jumping over barriers, rocks, trying to grab this guy that Denver sheriff just kicked out the door. I mean, it's amazing.
And he, again, he's misinforming the public on this because it's not a secure area. This is an open parking lot that the public is allowed into. We have no idea who else is coming into that parking lot. Friends of this person that was just released. And the ICE agents are not allowed to go right up to the door. So the Denver Sheriff's Department has precluded them. So it's like this.
Like a head start.
It's a mad dash. Like, these guys get out the door. The ICE agents are there. They're all looking at each other, and then again, I've said we've been in foot chases on Colfax Avenue, playing Frogger with cars, because this city, Denver County and city, refuses to safely let ICE come in and take criminal illegal aliens, gang members, off the street safely.
Wow. JFab with the Heritage Foundation, and he's their top border security and immigration guy, joining us live in studio. We got a number of callers that want to talk to you as well. Let's go to Mike in Denver. Good morning, Mike. You're on the Jeff and Bill Show.
Morning.
Hey, guys. Good morning. John, nice to talk to you. Just a couple of comments and a quick question. One, the mayor said he spends 1% of the city's budget on illegal immigration. I didn't know the city's budget was $3 billion.
And in fact, I think that was the mayor of Boston or of Chicago that kept saying that. He kept repeating, it's only 1%. And the Republicans go, well, how much is it?
Yeah.
And he go, and then people go, you don't know how much 1% of your budget is? No, that guy's got a 6% approval rating. But yeah, go ahead, Mike.
It's absolutely pathetic. And I just hope that Luna does make the referral, and I hope the Justice Department brings Johnston in for questioning. That should precipitate some type of an effort to get that guy the hell out of Denver. He has done nothing but ruin the city. The better question, I think, would have been, are you feel safe walking down the 16th Street Mall at night? Mayor, he won't do that. Of course he does. He's got police officers surrounding him, and they're armed. John, let me ask you a question. I proposed to my opponent in the last election that we put a piece of legislation in the Colorado legislature that says very simply this: all Colorado law enforcement shall communicate with ICE when they have probable cause to believe that a person in their custody is in the Colorado illegally. Will that help you?
It would definitely help us. I think that's the way to go. All we're asking is to communicate, to have the information necessary to decide if we're going to take action. And we're not requiring local and city police officers to go out there and make arrests based on immigration law. All we're asking for is the information so that we can look at it and decide if this person needs to be taken into custody by ICE.
Let me ask you a question, John, because I'm not quite sure where this guy was released out of the jail. That's the jail downtown, right?
Yeah, affirmative. That's so they release from a few locations down there, but they release them right out the front door. Where I think that's the Simonette Center or whatever it is over there, and they're just releasing them right into the area,
which is right across the street from the courthouse.
Yep.
Where people are attending and have to be there, and you're putting these people out. The sheriff's department says they're released to the street. What the hell is our district attorney doing? Our new district attorney, who said that he's going to get tough on crime. Nothing. This guy gets released without a bond. I mean, come on.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm I'm upset about it, and I need to cool down because this stuff just drives me crazy.
Mike,
you should be upset.
Mike, this is what Steve Bannon calls the righteous indignation that saves America.
Yes.
So don't feel bad about it because this stuff needs to be corrected. Mike, great call. Sure appreciate it. Mike's line will be open, 303-696-1971, 303-696-1971. Joe, I want to get to you in just a second. I want to talk about your hair. If you're losing it and desire to have it back, then Advanced Hair Restoration has the easiest guaranteed solution. Their simple one-day treatment offers life-changing results. I've seen it with my own eyes. Guys, it's not magic, but close to it. They put hair where you need it the most, and bam, it grows. It's actually science. Advanced Hair has it all. Top-rated Dr. Tanya Paul's modern technology, and best of all, you get your very own natural hair that begins regrowing the very next day. Advanced Hair even guarantees it will grow for life. So schedule your free consultation now. 720-459-HAIR. That's 720-459-HAIR. If you qualify, you get $250 off and $250 free hair grafts. Advanced Hair is the winner of Westward's Best of Denver and has changed the lives of tens of thousands of people. So don't wait. Check out the before and afters online for yourself, 720-459-HAIR or advancedhair.com. That's advancedhair.com. All right, let's go to Joe in Arvada. Good morning, Joe. You're on Jeff and Bill with John Fabbricatore, live in studio.
Good morning, Jeff, Billy, and John Fabbricatore. You've got a future. This is awesome. John, we know that all of the illegals during the Biden administration were registered to vote. Now, the Democrats jump up and down and tell us, oh, no, they're not going to vote. But the question begs to be asked, well, then why were they registered? And then the next question is why is the Secretary of State here sending out ballots to them? And then what happens to those ballots? And so this is my question about legislation. Can we introduce, or can you introduce, since these people are not citizens, that we follow the path of these votes? In other words, they made registrations. Well, did they get sent a ballot? And then did that ballot get turned in? And if there's an Inspector Clouseau out there in the federal government, how many of these people are voting? They answer when polled, 20% of illegals say they voted in the last presidential election. That should tell you something.
I haven't seen any evidence like that. Have you, Jay?
Well, I mean, I haven't seen the evidence pointing to a large number like that. But what we have seen is because they're allowing illegal aliens to get driver's licenses, the driver's license are then tied into jury duty and voting. So in some states, we've seen many illegal aliens getting notices to appear for jury duty, which they should not be. And we have seen, and even in a case here in Colorado, where notices went out to illegal aliens during voting time. Now, it wasn't for them to vote. It was to check on registration for voting. But it's still, they're in that system there. And many blue areas are trying to allow illegal aliens to vote in some elections. School board elections, lower level elections. And they want to do that as a springboard, believe me.
Oh, yeah.
If they're starting there in the lower levels, they're looking to springboard that forward. So it's something that we do need to recognize. We do need to pay attention to it. I don't think that there's a high number of illegal aliens voting in our elections, but that does not mean that we should not be investigating it, because the number should be zero.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, and you carpet, as George Brockler would always say, we carpet bomb the entire state with ballots. So it's just like, let's create the worst possible scenario for those types of things to happen. Go ahead, Joe.
Well, that's exactly what really is transpiring. We know this is happening. Well, maybe some of us do. When those ballots hit those mailboxes, your friendly neighborhood ballot chaser is showing up and hi, oh, you're not using that? Well, let's just get it in here. I mean, there are people that have been pulled over with hundreds of blank ballots. Come on, man.
I do agree with you on that, Joe. We need to secure those ballots that are going out. I don't like that, even what Jeff said, we're being carpet bombed with thousands and thousands of ballots just going out to mailboxes, and we don't know, at addresses people haven't lived at for dozens of years. So it does need to be tightened up.
Well, and yesterday during the hearing, the mayor of Chicago was specifically asked this. Do you support taxpayer dollars for illegal immigrants to go to college, to get health care, and then to even vote? Would you support them to vote? And his answer was this kind of panned, I don't want to check on people's immigration statuses, all that. Essentially saying, yeah I'm okay if people that are living in the city of Chicago illegally are allowed to vote in municipal and local elections.
They're looking to do it here.
Yeah. All right, Joe, I really appreciate the call. Thanks so much. Joe's line will be open 303-696-1971. Look, are you tired of outdated kitchens or bathrooms? Dreaming of sleek granite, luxurious marble, or a modern look of quartz? At the Art of Granite, they believe your home is a canvas. Owner and master craftsman Mitch Floria personally collaborates with each client, ensuring every detail is perfectly executed. From small vanities to complete kitchen overhauls, they'll do it all. And the best part? Mitch cuts out the middleman. He sources premium granite, marble, and quartz directly from his Denver West warehouse, offering you wholesale prices. And right now, an incredible offer exclusively for KNUS listeners. Mention KNUS and get a free bathroom countertop with new kitchen countertops, or choose a free kitchen or bathroom sink with any countertop package. Don't wait. Transform your home into the oasis you deserve. Schedule your free consultation with Mitch today. Visit their stunning showroom in Denver West or go to theartofgranite.com. Mitch Floria, a great American patriot, the right guy you want to use when you need to remodel your kitchen or bathroom. That's theartofgranite.com. theartofgranite.com. Be sure to mention KNUS for those exclusive savings. So when we come back, we're going to continue with John Fabbricatore, your phone calls and texts, and how Gabe Evans responded to Mayor Mike Johnston at yesterday's House Oversight Committee hearing. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. We're covering all things that happened yesterday during the crazy House committee hearing. Republicans, Democrats more interested not so much in defending sanctuary cities, but going for the scalp of Mayor Eric Adams. And one of the Republicans pointed it out that nobody else was getting the same treatment from Democrats over there. You had 4 city mayors, one from Boston, Chicago, Denver, and New York, and those Democrats laser locked on trying to get Eric Adams to admit that he had some quid pro quo with Donald Trump regarding illegal immigration and the dropping of the bribery charges and all that. And he just would respond, no quid pro quo, no quid pro quo. I'm in the middle of a legal battle. I can't answer any other questions. But they just kept going after and after him. Someone who did a great job yesterday going after Mayor Mikey Johnston was Gabe Evans. Here's Gabe Evans briefly.
Do you know how many of those 65 to 71 homicides were committed by people illegally present in the country? And I'm happy to show all of the sources for my facts.
We don't ask anyone's status at point of arrest. We do not know someone's status and when they're charged.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Mayor Mikey Johnston admitting he doesn't know out of, what was it, the homicides? Mm-hmm. How many of those have been committed by illegal immigrants? That John Fabbricatore live in studio with us. It seems like no matter if you're a Republican or Democrat, you might just want to know that information.
They're hiding the information.
Yes,
there's a place of birth on the criminal status sheets that come out that the Colorado Bureau of Investigations keeps, and the place of birth is a field on that. And they are putting XX in the place of birth instead of putting MX for Mexico or VZ for Venezuela. They don't want you to know how many illegal criminal aliens are committing crimes in this. And I love Congressman Gabe Evans. The way he speaks so matter of fact, and he's like, and I have the evidence to back it up if you really want to talk about it. I mean, his delivery on stuff is just. You can't get around what he says because he's coming at you with 100% fact, and he's got it written down right in front of him.
Wow. John Fabbricatore. Now, John's now with the Heritage Foundation. He's their top visiting fellow on border security and immigration, and you can follow him on X if you go to John _Fab, F-A-B-B, but his name, John Fabbricatore, Fabbricatore. Colorado is got a real gift with JFab, who's one of the top guys out there on immigration security, border security, living right here in Aurora, Colorado. Follow him on X. We've got some more calls. Let's go to Patrick in Denver. Good morning, Patrick. You're on the Jeff and Bill Show.
Yes, good morning. Good morning, Bill. Or Jeff, that was Jeff, right?
Yeah, that was him. That's okay. Yeah. I'm the one that John's trying to deport. He keeps 29 at the first meeting. So
that's why we really bring him in here. There's going to be a wrestling match.
Yeah, it was something that, and then Jeff was asking, can he demonstrate a nerve hold on me? Which again, I'm a little worried.
Well, and like the Denver sheriff, we'll give you a head start.
we'll give you a little
only an hour. Yeah, only an hour. That's all I get. Just an hour.
I'll only tase you twice.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. It's nice to know you care.
Go ahead, Patrick.
Okay, so what I have, I am a legal alien. I've been naturalized, but I am. Everyone's forgetting about them. If the illegals can vote, why can't the legal aliens vote?
Yeah. Are you not allowed to vote if you've been through the naturalization process? Really?
Oh no! I'm natural. But when I was illegal with the green card, no, you cannot vote.
Right.
But all of a sudden, the illegals can. There's something wrong with that picture.
Well, I haven't seen a ton of evidence that there's like a coordinated effort to get that illegal immigrants are actually voting. We see these mistakes where they're heading out and they may get ballots and notifications and stuff like that. But very clear. Unless you've been naturalized, which is one of the most beautiful things I think America does, because you see people that have gone through the work to become an American citizen. They're so grateful. They get how hard it is. And then I think it's fine for them to be able to vote.
Yeah, look,
Jen?
Patrick did the right thing. He legally did it, became a naturalized citizen. He's giving back to the United States. And it's people like Patrick that we're forgetting about, because all of this illegal immigration is keeping valid legal immigration from being able to come in, be able to, lawfully and legally naturalize in a timely manner. It's just pushing everything back because we've got millions and millions of illegal aliens.
Yeah, so next week I will have a placard and I will march up and down the Capitol building asking that question, getting the public to realize that, hey, the illegals can't vote.
Well, Patrick, I appreciate you raising awareness around that. Thanks so much. Patrick's line will be open 303-696-1971 if you want to call and join the conversation here. Let's go to John in Lakewood. Good morning, John. You're on the Jeff and Bill Show with JFab.
Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
If I heard you guys correctly, you're talking about that illegal release and the ICE apprehension at the county jail.
Yeah, in Denver.
The videos that I have been seeing shows that facility is the one on Smith Road, not the one downtown. Although I'm sure same situation could happen downtown.
Where's Smith Road? Smith Road's what city?
Courts down
Yeah, it's Denver. It's Denver County.
Denver.
Yeah. So I have to relook at that video. So they do releases out of the Smith's facility, just like you're talking about, and they also do release from the downtown jail off of Cherokee, or they release from the courthouse. In any of those situations, Denver is releasing out the door.
Well, bottom line is that's what they're doing, correct?
Yes, they are releasing out the door, not allowing ICE officers to go into the facility and make an arrest inside the facility, where we know that an ICE officer can walk in, put the handcuffs on, put them in a van, and be able to safely leave that facility without having to chase them down the road.
That would be the ideal situation.
Wow.
But I just wanted to point out that the videos that are going around over this one in question was the Smith Road location, and there is no courthouse there.
John, I love an eagle-eyed listener, man.
Yes,
I sure appreciate that. Thanks for bringing that to our attention. We'll take a look at it, but thanks for the call. John's line will be open 303-696-1971. 303-696-1971. Now, Bill, you and John were talking technology.
Yeah, we were talking technology. And early on in the conversation, you'd have to go back almost like an hour and a half, John was talking about testimony that he was giving, and it was addressing the current use of technology with ICE and enforcement and border issues, and also potential technology. And that caught my attention. And what I want to know from John is, what technology are we currently using that you feel really performs well? Secondly, what technology are we currently using that fails, that we're wasting our time using? And third, most importantly, what is the new technology that you think could really, really help us with border security and illegal immigration?
Well, one of the things I mentioned in my testimony was a fingerprint reader that we currently use on the streets that's tied into ICE databases. It's called an EDDI application. It's the Eagle Direct intelligence application, and we're able to use that on the street to put anyone who's ever been encountered by ICE or whose fingerprints are in the system, we're able to see an immigration record on them instantaneously. And one of the things I talked about in my testimony is how we use it downtown on heroin drug dealers that were dealing heroin on the Cherry Creek Trail, and they were claiming to be from Puerto Rico and saying that they were citizens, and they were not. It was very easy to put them on the EDDI, get a fingerprint on them, and discover that they were actually from Honduras and had been deported multiple times. So we were able to arrest them based on that and then take them into custody and get them deported again. So a technology that's not being used the right way would be the CBP One app. The CBP One app was not developed the way that the Biden administration wind up using it. It was originally supposed to be used for incoming traffic with goods. So truckers that were coming in could get on a CBP One app, put their information on there so that as they came through the port of entry, the information for what they were carrying and everything was already on there, and CBP didn't have to slow down and look at all that information. The Biden administration expanded that to use for people and not goods, and it was wrongly used in an end run around Congress. Now, Ms. Boebert, Congresswoman Boebert, asked me, well, can we do the reverse with the CBP One app? If we allowed it to be used for people to come in, can we use it for people to exit? And my answer is yes. Let's reverse that technology and make the CBP One app an exit app for anyone that wants to self-deport. Some of the things that we could definitely use for technology, look, AI technology is just expanding. And if we could use AI and analytics to look into casework and put case files together for ICE agents, it would get them much quicker out onto the street where we want them to be so that they're making arrests. But I think that we can use those cloud-based AI systems. I'm working with a company, IDI Core, right now that has some great cloud-based AI network systems, and we can put these cases together a lot faster and be able to get out on the street and make arrests.
Oh, that's interesting. That would be, yeah, because you're basically using, like the spider technology to comb through millions and millions and millions of documents and then find those commonalities and pull those and run a report.
Absolutely. Yeah. Through everything from home ownership to credit card use to driver's license. And it just, like you said, it's just this spider web technology that just goes through and looks at all these different links and is able to give you the information that you need to make a case.
Now, I love the idea you talked about the CBP One app because, yeah, the issue with truckers coming across, some people don't realize that I think it's El Paso is the busiest or one of the top 2 or 3 busiest ports in the U.S. and there's no water. It is all truckers, and part of the electronic need there is to get the trucks through as quickly as possible. You need to verify as quickly as possible who's legal, who isn't, who raises red flags. Now, inside of that CPB One app, when they started expanding it into individual use, where are those failures? Because, and what I'm looking at is the argument of, well, it's verifying that the trucker's okay. Why can't it verify that an individual user without a truck is okay? What is the failure in the system so the audience understands why that is an inappropriate use of technology?
Yeah, there was a lot of failure in that. In fact, the cartels started using the CBP One app and were charging people that they were actually human trafficking up through the border. They were charging them to use the CBP One app. So the cartels were using it, making appointments for people that they were trafficking up and getting them through. So the cartels were actually using the Biden-directed CBP One app to get people in. And we discovered, like, they were putting fake addresses in there, or even a good address, but it was just no one was actually going there. We found thousands and thousands of names to, like, one single address because, the cartel was just like, we're just going to use this same address over and over. And it took weeks until somebody discovered, oh, wait a second, we've got, one address with thousands of people going to the same address.
Yeah, so the person's applying for asylum, and they're using, what they're doing is they're getting the person they're trafficking them here, and they're taking the person being trafficked, having them go through the app and apply for asylum, so they get access to the country and they get an appointment, but then they're delivered to the end, the end user.
And one of the things that myself and an HSI agent that also testified talked about is that, while applications are good and technology is good, you always need that human kind of connection, especially when you're talking about an asylum claim. So normally we would have a human being sitting in front of you, a credible fear officer, or if you do get encountered, instead of just using technology to look, sometimes to get human intelligence it always does. It requires a human in order to drag that human intelligence out. A human looking at you, looking in your eyes, reading your body language, and being able to say, there's something more to this case. I need to drag this out.
That's why we love our ICE officers so much. All right, JFab joining us. We'll wrap up. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
back to the Jeff and Bill Show, recapping what happened yesterday in Washington, D.C. as Mayor Mikey Johnston was brought forth for some public accountability. All right, last question as we got to wrap here. John Fabbricatore live in studio with us. He's now with the Heritage Foundation. Literally the largest, most powerful conservative think tank has made him their top border security and immigration guy. J-Fab, what happens next for Mikey Johnston?
Well, I think what we're going to see is he's going to be held accountable on this. He's going to have to really show why he did, or Denver County is doing what they're doing now. The amount of money that they spent, the criminal releases to the street, just not being there for the American citizen and being there for illegal criminal aliens.
Gosh, you can see why he's the absolute best. I love this guy, John Fabbricatore. Follow him on X. John _Fab, F-A-B-B, but John Fabbricatore live in studio recapping what happened yesterday. If you missed any of the conversation, including our conversation with Lauren Boebert, Sherronna Bishop, it's all at 710knus.com. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is 710 KNUS.